Hey everybody, welcome to Unscripted Access. I am Bronson Fiore, joined by Anthony Ta.
Hi, all.
Hey, also, you're probably wondering where Nick is, and he is very, very, very sick.
He got a disease,
A virus. He had a virus.
a virus.
And then
Really?
he blue screened. So yeah, Nick is out of commission for a little bit. Um, anyway, then you're wondering what Bremen is. Well, Bremen, he has work at this hour. And then, Kyrie, it's too late. Also, Anthony, now I can't connect to Dota games, so I'm really starting to think this is a router issue. Anyway, back to what we. Sorry, Anthony, I were having a conversation earlier. um, anyway, so Anthony, how you doing? It's been a whole week.
Well,
Nice long. Oh, wait.
I'm having one of my brain rot moments right now. I used to get these a lot when I was younger, but it's like if I watch too many YouTube videos, my brain just kind of slowly deteriorates to a vegetated state where I can't do anything that requires focus. Instead, I just continue rotting my brain with YouTube until I sleep, and then I'm okay again.
Great.
It's a weird thing. It's probably why I don't watch YouTube these days.
I've been very busy at my new job. Uh, yeah, that's been hilarious. I can't because it's politics. I can't say anything really, but man, that is the funniest job I've ever had. It is hilarious.
Well, at least you're getting good entertainment out of it. Yes?
I told you that one story yesterday when we were hanging out with Mark, right?
Yeah, that was whew.
So great. So uh, I know that we normally don't talk about what we've been playing, but we don't have much news this week, so we kind of need to pad it out a little
Yeah,
bit.
freaking we're 2 months away from E3, so it's kind of like, okay guys, we're going to begin the games drought and we're going to also begin the news drought. So,
So,
yeah.
I am still playing games from that big, like, that big release push that happens in late February all through March. Like, I'm still playing games from that. I'm still working on Final Fantasy X and Donkey Kong and just, so much to play. Uh, but have you played anything new?
Not really.
I know you got to the menu of Persona 4.
I did. Yeah, so that's news, I guess.
Yeah, what's up
Persona
with
4,
that?
like the PS2 version of Persona 4 got put on PlayStation Classics yesterday. Um,
I'm literally considering buying it just so I can start it the same time you do, so we can play through it together-ish. Um,
why not just
yeah,
make it Super Mega Awesome? Well, yeah, we can't do that.
shut your mouth. No, oh my god,
You
that would be
said play it together, so it's like, what a better way than to have two dudes in the same room playing it together?
because
For all I
that
know, we could be sitting around for 6 hours a day filming, like creating the world's biggest, let's play backlog in history.
dear God, it took. So Giant Bomb, their first Let's Play of that game. Their Let's Play series is called the Endurance Run. And their episodes vary. They'll do 10-minute episodes to episodes that are an hour and 30 minutes. They're not like us. They just because they have episodes go up every weekday, they just kind of stop when they feel it's a good stopping point. Kind of like we're doing now. It's that we still try and get you 4 episodes. Kind of like we're doing now. It's that we still only record in at most 2-hour sessions. Um, Instead of recording every day like these fine gentlemen do. And they beat the game in 100 hours, though that's the game. That does not count time when you died. So let's say they probably beat it in like 120 hours, actually. Uh, and granted, they got the good ending and they did most of the stuff you could do. And they clocked out 155 episodes.
Yep, let's not do it then.
Like I said, our last two games will be Twilight Princess and Persona 4. So if we ever like if you once you see Persona
Whenever,
4,
whenever, whenever the day comes that the world will end and TJ somehow still exists in the process, we will do those.
no, when we're just tired, we're done with Let's Plays. Like just when we are done with Let's Plays, like we're just tired of doing them.
So
That that
maybe in about 20 or 30 years, when we decide that maybe the idea has just kind of died hard.
yeah, yeah. So you'll see a Twilight Princess one, and then you'll see a Persona 4 one, and then we're retired. It's done. It's done. That's when we're done. But I know we said we've been wanting to do Penny Arcade episode 4, but I'm slowly starting to turn against that idea, and I cannot believe I'm not going to say this. Make it a community choice. That means we are going to let you guys all shout at our inboxes and our comment page for an article, and you tell us what game you want us to play through.
That seems like a very bad idea.
I will say this though, depending on the game, we hold all rights to say fuck that shit.
So it's like we're gonna let them decide, but not decide.
We're gonna let them decide, but if they do something,
what you're more like you're doing is that you're saying throw in us all of your choices and we pick one instead of they pick for us. Because if we're doing this whole thing of vetoing games, that's not exactly them deciding. If I'm honest.
Okay, well, Anthony, do you want to play through Final Fantasy VII?
No, I don't.
Okay, let's shut up.
But if you're telling people, okay, guys, decide on the game. No. Like, what? That kind of defeats the point of asking a question. Why not just say, okay, give us a list of games that you were interested in playing, and then we'll pick which one we think is best.
That's not a bad idea.
That's kind of like a middle ground. I mean, we kind of like dodged a bullet when we threw a vote. It's just like, hey, everybody, we got these 6 games. Pick one.
And then they chose Chrono Trigger.
Final Fantasy VII was on there, and I'm just like, can you imagine us enduring 80 hours of that kind of game?
Oh my god, just
like I feel like I'm either gonna love it or think it's really agonizing.
I mean, it's a great game. Like, I gotta send you this video series the completionist has been doing on it. It is a fantastic game. It covers some awesome stuff, but man, is it long. And it looks like shit. And some of the translation is really rough. That said, like, I've been thinking of our next game. I really have. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But I've thought about Metal Gear Peace Walker. I've thought about Catherine. I've looked at, I really looked at Catherine pretty hard. Like that one was one where I was like, yeah, that's actually like not a lot of people played it. It's a really great game. It's all at like I beat it in 15 hours. If we put it on easy mode, we could probably be like 8.
Thing is, though, I kind of feel like after Penny Arcade, I feel like our next game should be not Japanese. Because we've done Chrono Trigger, we've done Okami, so it's kind of like, aside from Penny Arcade, which is just something that, it's kind of like, it's like a super mega awesome go playtime thing now. Aside from that, we've already kind of done Japanese games. I kind of feel like we need to pick something that's not Japanese.
All right, so let's do.
Yeah.
I mean, that last.
I mean, I know the title seems to heavily suggest that we do play Japanese games, hence super mega awesome go playtime. Freaking.
No, see, we should do the most Japanese games and do Yakuza.
Yeah, that actually, you know what? That sounds pretty great. It's like, it's got action, okay? Because Chrono Trigger is really RPG, and then Okami just kind of hits that middle of, you got some action, but you got puzzle solving, and then Yakuza is just, yeah. Yakuza's cool.
Yeah, so, I don't know, but I actually do want to hear from you people. What game do you want to see Anthony and I play all the way? Well, actually, now it's Anthony Bremen and I play all the way through. We have been doing Okami for a while. We're reaching the last chunk, and we are excited for the future. But we want to know what you guys want to see. So, like, if we just get like 100 comments, 1,000 comments, all saying like Final Fantasy, first off, we're probably going to be pretty pissed. and then second off, we'll probably do it. Like that's because we do what you guys want us to do, but we also do what we think would be a good idea. Uh, Actually, Anthony, we could probably do Heavy Rain. That'd be pretty funny.
Maybe.
David Cage his wonderful writing about emotions. Uh, oh my god.
Yeah, like I don't know anything about Heavy Rain other than I played the demo, which featured the Scott Shelby in the apartment and that fight scene thing.
Yeah.
And it also featured the FBI agent, I think.
Yeah.
Out in the Heavy Rain. He was like
Origami Killer.
Origami Killer. Like I only know those jokes and just what's from the demo, and the one memory I have of the demo is Scott Shelby looks kind of cool.
Scott Shelby's a fucking badass.
Yeah, he's pretty. He can do some cool things, and whacked up unconventional controls. It's like it's like a car that has buttons for turn signals instead of a lever that you find on every other car.
You are right. The whole Aaron was super hyped for that game. And he just said the whole reason he did not enjoy it was the controls.
Yeah, like I said, it's just unconventional. It's like to walk, you push up on the analog stick and hold down like L2 or something like that. It's like a car that the turning signals is operated by a switch on operated by buttons instead of an actual lever switch on like almost every other car out there. Or, having the gas pedal operate by your left foot instead of your right foot. It just counters what you accept as normal. So
speaking of content we're working on, we might as well just get all the site stuff out of the way now. I can't talk about the big announcement that's coming, but I can.
If you keep mentioning the big announcement, they'll figure it out. Okay,
well,
stop saying we've got a big announcement coming. If you keep saying that in like every single show, they're going to figure it out pretty fast because you can't shut up about it.
I've only said it in this show, so shut up.
You said in Super Mega Awesome Go Playtime also.
Okay, well, no more.
Or maybe it was 60-minute access.
No, it was us talking with Mark.
And now you have just said it on the most popular show on the freaking website.
Okay, well, now it's the most popular show on the website, so now I don't have to ever talk about it until we actually announce it, so let's shut the fuck up.
Great!
Jesus. But we might as well get another show/site announcement stuff out of the way. Gamecast is returning. I am on a schedule now where I have weekends off. So that means Anthony and I are on a closer to somewhat synced schedule. Not totally in sync, but still close. So that means we can produce more content. Fantastic for you people.
I mean, our schedules has been a bit out of sync. The last week, I think, has been like content everywhere.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing.
I mean, it's like we've got Connect Sports review. What the hell's coming this week? On what the hell is
Bronson Rant's coming next week.
We've had Bronson Rants last week. Harry's having what the hell. We've got 60-minute access. We got Connect Sports review. Yeah, we're pretty much on top of things right now.
Yeah, it's amazing what happens when Anthony and I are on the same schedule. Because Anthony and I collaborate on pretty much everything. So when we're not on the same schedule, it just means shit kind of slows to a crawl.
I mean, life punches us in the face like once every 3 months.
Yeah,
that slows things down pretty hard too.
Also, that Connect. A lot of you enjoyed that Connect Sports. I've gotten PSN email about it. We got a couple comments about it. That's making me consider getting more Connect games.
I mean, I don't know what is about it that's good. I think it has something to do with the idea that Nick told this idea that Nick gave to me about filming us trying to use it.
Yeah.
While the footage of the game is playing, so you can kind of like get an idea of what you're probably going through to try and get this thing to work. And I think that's what made it pretty good.
Gamecast is returning due to recent announcements, including a news story this week. The raid will be briefly returning as it always does.
Yeah, but you've been saying that
Uh,
for like the last 2 weeks now.
I know, but it's actually gonna
I mean,
come.
it's like you've been saying that for the last 2 weeks, and considering that you're most intent on not going back on drugs, you probably shouldn't be doing that show.
Anyway, uh the comic. I know we've talked about the comic a million fucking times. Right now we are waiting for something from Aaron. I can't say what that something is because it's part of the comic. But Aaron is the staff member. But he's still working with us on the comic, uh, and we're having something. We're having something accompany the comic, and Aaron is the producer of those, or most of those. So we need those. Also, along with the comic, Aaron and I write. Bremen has his own series, and it's going to be very, very anime-esque. So those of you who like anime should be enjoying that. Should enjoy that. I don't know how often those are going to get posted, especially because Aaron apparently has a full-time schedule now for work. So, and he's also in the process of getting ready to move to Seattle with Jerry. So, that's kind of coming up and down. Shows we want to start. I know we've talked about top 10-ish. We've talked about brief history of video games. A show will start when this current season of Super Mega Awesome Go Play Time is done. Because we've kind of realized that we can only work on 2 shows at a time on Saturdays.
And then individually, we can only add one personal show on top of that.
Yeah. So,
apparently when you're a staff of only about five people, it's 5 people living across the country, with 3 of which that live in the same city with wildly varying schedules. It gets pretty hard to make things sometimes.
Yeah, the only thing that's good about the current schedule is Bremen, Anthony, and I all have weekends off.
I mean, some of you may have noticed back in about October or November that 60-minute access and Super Mario Single Playtime pretty much halted. Well, that's how wildly varying schedules and different workloads can grind collaborative things to a halt.
But we did, but 6-minute access. So we're not gonna ever get rid of that unless just you guys say no. We really do want to see something else, because that's kind of our show that shows off all the new releases that you guys want to see. And if you guys want to see a specific release, tell us, because we don't know. We just kind of pick whatever's the biggest release of a week or month and play it. With some exceptions where we play stuff that we want to play. Like that's how that works. So I know that we will have. I know that, like, I might as well tell this because it's kind of out in the open. Anthony and I worked on an episode of Top 10ish, and we got it mostly written and everything, but just stuff happened. So I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna say you're gonna get an episode of that this summer. An episode.
That top 10ish
Singular.
episode that has never been published has been sitting in limbo for almost a year.
I know.
We recorded it right, I think just before E3 happened, and it's going to contain some insanely out-of-date comments. Like, for example, we're probably going to give up on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One and just game on Wii U and PC.
Man, how that changed.
Yeah, because back in that day, the Xbox One had just been revealed, and it was the most unpopular thing we had ever seen.
Ever.
It's just like everyone is just thinking Microsoft is just no one wants it. Okay, and those who do want it, we kind of thought were maybe crazy. And PlayStation 4 had
Alex.
And I don't know. Like, in the case of Alex, he always gets new tech anyway, so I just think he's like, he's
He
buying
bought
it for
a shield. Like, he bought an NVIDIA shield.
I know, so I'm thinking he's the kind of person that just wants to buy new tech, not necessarily.
Like I'm the early adopter type. Like I invest in new tech like fucking crazy, but like he takes that shit to the next level. Like it's nuts. But continue saying.
I know, but I don't know. Like, there would be some people that would buy the Xbox One, and there's like some people that argued, oh, well, you need to be daring to be the future. And yeah, but there kind of comes a point when you basically just lost your entire fan base.
I mean, they're still recovering
because
from that. Like that's how bad that was. You got to think about that for a sec. Like we are almost a year removed from that. We are 11 months almost removed from that. About 10 and a half. And there are people who still don't know about that system. And it's online and shit. Like they're still like that is how much fucking damage it did. Like, I mean, that's crazy if you like. It's kind of nuts if you think about it, but it's like, you know, and Sony, to their credit, they saw that happen and they were like, okay, we could like this is such. They fucked up so bad that we basically just have to go up there and say we're keeping everything the same.
I mean,
every like they went up stage and they're like, "Yo, everything's staying the same. We're $100 cheaper."
And guess what? Like
Fucking
all
applause.
Sony did was apply common sense. Okay, basically they just took the safe, low risk evolutionary route, and that got applause because the alternative was that bad. Because it didn't really matter that Microsoft did the best they could to give one of the best E3 presentations that they could ever give, showed nothing but game after game after game after game to kind of like be on damage control, but that still didn't take away the shock. And all Sony had to do was just apply low risk evolutionary steps forward. Just steps forward now. No huge strides, just a step forward, and that got applause.
I mean,
because, yeah, it's just like, they all, really, I mean, it looked like Sony was the savior, when really, they didn't really do anything other than say, yeah, we're not doing anything stupid. Yay, no stupidity! Woo! Throw a party!
I mean, and going in that press conference, like, we're all kind of nervous because like,
at the time,
Microsoft had a really good showing as far as games went. Like they showed some fucking games that look great.
It's like you've got this terrible console, but you got some medications called games to help numb the pain.
Like, first off, they showed off Killer Instinct, which, god fucking damn, how many... Like, that game, first off, on Xbox Live has been doing relatively well, and it's gotten popular enough to become an MLG game. So, I mean, like that... I mean, so that got a lot of people excited. Then, of course, the standard Call of Duty, Battlefield. But then they showed shit like Sunset Overdrive, and they showed Halo, and they showed, what else was in that press conference? They showed Dead Rising.
They dragged an entire car in.
Oh, yeah.
Like last time.
Forza. But no, they showed some really cool stuff, and you thought, oh shit, Sony's gonna have to come out swinging. And Sony, to their credit, they teased. Sony came out and they showed like PS3 is gonna have a long tail, which I'm glad they do that because it kind of shows like, hey, there's a very strong difference in Sony and Microsoft when a new generation starts, and it was the same thing with the 360, and it's the same thing with the Xbox One / PS2 and same thing with the PS2 or the PS3 and was with the PS2 and now the PS3, PS4 is the second Microsoft's newest console comes out, they drop that fucker. They dropped the old one. They're just like, Xbox, the original Xbox, fuck that thing. 360, yeah, we're gonna support the online services, but we're not making anything.
We're gonna say a bunch of empty sentences that you will not believe in. We will continue to support the Xbox 360.
And by support, we mean all the multi-plats will come out on it.
And by support, we're keeping Xbox Live on for another 2 years.
To be fair, they kept original Xbox Live going for quite some time.
They did, but I was just making sure to say by Xbox 360. What do you mean by support? Is we're gonna keep online services working. Totally supporting it.
I'm gonna look up when they discontinued the original Xbox. No, we don't. Let's see. No, we want OG Xbox, not the brand. We want OG Xbox. Okay, so it was discontinued. Depending on your region, either okay discontinuation.
2008 in North America.
Okay, so it says it doesn't say what territories, but I'm assuming June 4th, 2006 was Japan.
Yeah.
May
No one bought
18th,
it.
May 18th was 2008, and March 11th, 2007. I'm assuming is Europe.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, that was interesting. Its best-selling game was Halo 2 with 8 million copies, which that means I would just like to throw this out there. That means one in every three Xbox owners owned Halo 2.
I mean, you think about that was the reason why people bought the system. Nothing
That's
else.
that's fucking crazy. Like you think about that though, that was not a pack-in, and that game never dropped in price. And that thing was owned by one in three people who owned the system. That is fucking nuts. Uh, anyway, continuing on with that, Xbox Live. Uh,
The power of the cloud shall be realized.
Shut up.
I remember back in the day when the Xbox was still on really, really, really bad ground. It was like the summer. All the avid supporters were like saying, "Cloud will be the future. Cloud will define everything," and we're like, we haven't reached there yet, guys.
Okay, so the original Xbox games were supposed to be discontinued on April 14th, 2010. Services were discontinued on schedule, but 20 gamers, or over the time, it slowly was down to 20. But let me tell you, I was one of the people who were like the original 5,000. But a group of 20 gamers continued to play for almost a month afterwards by leaving their consoles on and connected to Halo 2. The final user to play on original Xbox Live was finally disconnected on May 11th, 2010. So I remember that because I remember Giant Bomb was doing a live stream and I had school the next day, and quite frankly, I didn't. It was my senior year, so quite frankly, I didn't give a fuck. And I stayed up with Ryan Davis and Drew Scanlon and a bunch of other Giant Bomb fans playing original Xbox games all night. And it was awesome. Then I went to school 2 hours later and fell asleep in my English class. So I mean, you think about back to what we were talking about though.
Yeah. So, that we were talking about. Yeah, like freaking at that time before the press conferences happened, the Xbox One is the most unpopular thing we have seen in recent memory. The PlayStation 4 had way too many question marks. Rumors were flying about. So it just kind of like became a case of where we're like, the only thing that we can feel comfortable right now is the PC because, Steam has good deals and, PC gaming, it exists at the time now. It exists now, we know what it is. And the Wii U also exists now, and we know what it is. So it just kind of felt safer that we should just maybe just stick with Nintendo and PC. So that was the thought at the time.
A couple of things here. What I was saying on my original topic when we went on that little tangent there was I love that Sony supports their system for a long time. Like, I love that. Like, I mean
to them, that's like saying you may not have enough. You may not have enough money for our newest system, so we're going to keep bringing stuff to your old system. I mean, that's like for people like me, because it's like, aside from Destiny, I have literally no reason to get a PlayStation 4 this year. And do I really want to pay $430 for one game? What about next year? Like I am not an early adopter. I'm going to tell you
this. How badly do you want to play Destiny with Nick, Aaron, and I?
I don't know.
That's the question.
The problem here is that I'm kind of used to not really jumping into big games like that right away, because I've done it a few times and always kind of because it's usually a case of, hey guys, I'm here now. Oh, they're all gone now.
Yeah, that's because you jump in late.
So,
but that's
hey everybody, hey Anthony, you should come in and play Warcraft. I show up and then everyone's leaving, and I'm just like, okay, I guess I won't play anymore.
Okay, well, I mean, to be
I
fair,
mean, I mean, it's like there's a lot of reasons why apparently I don't play games with your friend group very often. It's like I either don't click with them, or the games you guys play don't click with me at all. Like Halo was kind of cool, but and I like Halo Reach, but I don't care about shooters mostly.
I mean,
Um,
like, I'm thinking about games that my friend group will actually play, and like, the next one that everyone's excited about is Destiny. Like, that's the next one. Um,
maybe I don't know.
Destiny and Warlords of Draenor.
Maybe I don't know. I'm kind of on money saving mode for the year, so
Um,
yeah.
uh, let's see. Continuing onward, though, yeah, I like that, and I like the fact that next year we'll be getting Persona 5, which
That joke just got real.
I love how that panned out perfectly.
I mean, friggin' wow.
Anyway, but Sony, they showed the PS3 stuff at that press conference, and then they showed some Vita stuff. And man, that Vita presentation was so disappointing. Like it was so
I
disappointing.
always look at it as like Nintendo, like the Wii U and the Vita were like having a face off of irrelevancy. That was
They,
what that's what I said about those two systems last year. They were fighting to see who could be more irrelevant.
I'm gonna be honest. Like I'm so if you had me pick like which of those systems I'm more satisfied with, it's probably the Vita. Like I like the Wii U, I like it a lot, but the Vita, because of all that indie support, it's on constantly for me. Like a lot of those indie games just port to that system so well, because indie games are built perfectly for the portable. And it's a shame that the Vita doesn't have anything like Pokemon to get people like Jim Sterling talked about the PS3 recently, and he brought up the fact that indies are they're not system sellers, but they're system justifiers. They keep it on, they keep you playing. And that's kind of how the Vita's been. Like I bought my Vita for Persona 4 and Uncharted and Luminous, and ever since, like I keep it on because Thomas Was Alone and Guacamelee and Lone Survivor and just a list of games that keeps just getting put on there. That are like, and they're cheap. They're like $5 to $15. And I get the PS3 or PS4 version a lot of the time. So anyway, uh, So I like the fact they swore their cause for a long time, but they showed that the Vita had its sad ass showing, where outside of a couple of very select titles, they showed off nothing pretty much. And then they started the PS4 stuff, and some of it was cool. Like they said, okay, these are some multiplats here, and then they showed like we have Netflix, we have all these video services, and the entire time I'm thinking, oh god,
Oh god,
please stop.
it's another TV box that can play games instead of a game system that can do TV things.
Oh god, please stop. And that
Oh
lasted
god.
for about 5 minutes, and then this appealed probably only to me. This appealed to Aaron and I way more than the rest of the staff at the time. And if they showed indie game, indie game, indie game, they keep showing all these really awesome looking indie games. And Aaron and I, being the indie enthusiasts on the staff at the time, are like, woo, yeah, woo. Everyone else is kind of like, oh yeah, that looks cool, or that looks all right.
They did show Assassin's Creed 4 Breakdown.
Yeah, that was
That,
not good.
like, now not to mention, this being E3 and the internet being the internet, the Xbox people were looking for any reason to say that Sony's a failure. And they're like, it doesn't work on PlayStation 4, it's a failure.
Which is weird because the PlayStation 4 version is the best version of that game.
Yeah, but when you have a presentation like that and things don't work, it
Yeah,
makes it a pretty easy
but
target.
but my response to pretty much because I specifically watch E3 on game trailers because it's hilarious.
Freaking that comment box on the side.
It's so
Wow.
funny. It's the best. It is the
Because
best way to.
everyone is like, I don't know what they're doing. Like, they're all typing responses, and I can't tell if they're overreacting or just desperate for anybody to read what they're saying. Maybe both.
Anyway, continue what we were saying. They show off Assassin's Creed, which was part of that whole. Oh, we have some games lined up, and then they show Infamous, and I was like Infamous was the turning point in that show. When I remember, like Infamous was like the first game they showed where I was like, oh shit, that looks fucking awesome. And then they showed The Order, which also looked kind of cool, and then they showed Mad Max, and then like the indie games were kind of the start. But then they showed Assassin's Creed and Infamous, and they show a bunch of really great looking games. And then they're like, okay, our policy on used games and all that shit. You do not need to connect to the internet. Boom. Yo, guess what also? Shit is, like, no online check-ins ever. You never need to connect to the internet. It fucking plays used games. And like they do all that, then they show a couple more games, and then say it's $400. Go buy our shit. And one part of that press conference that was hilarious to me was the fact that they snuck in that PlayStation Plus is required for online play now. But the thing is, PlayStation Plus doesn't feel shitty or dirty. Like Xbox Live feels really shitty. Like, as someone who pays for both services...
do you want to use your TV box for Netflix? Pay our Microsoft fee. It's like how you go to... It's like how you... Ooh, I think I've got a good example. So, you remember the one time we went to CES? Yeah. And we stayed at the Stratosphere, and we got... The hotel's been paid off for. Or so we thought. So after our stupid 8-hour flight, and after that stupid, fucking, awful shuttle driver, and yes, I did swear because I hated that driver that much, because he was that rude.
You and I were in such a bad mood.
No, like, freaking,
tips would be nice.
You were pissed off, Bronson, but I was the guy who was swearing all the way to the check-in counter. As we were walking across the floor, I was constantly blowing up and, like, using bleeping language all the time. It was just unbelievable, and I normally don't get that pissed off, but that driver was just terrible. Okay? Freaking took forever to drive anywhere, and whenever someone asked the honest question, so when are we gonna get there? Maybe another 30 minutes. And,
I didn't feel well at the time. Like I felt sick to myself. I was like, ugh.
Yeah, and he's like, well, you should have taken a cab. Well, thank you, good sir. Maybe we will. And then I'll get to, and maybe I will tell everybody not to use your company's shuttle services ever again. Like, I was so pissed off about that I was willing to pay for the entire cab ride to the airport on the day we left.
I almost tweeted out to that shuttle service, hey, this guy did this, da 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 da.
Yeah, he took freaking forever, and it just so happens that the Stratosphere was like the last play. It was like the second to last stop on this fucking route that he was taking.
If you looked at the way the route was set up, that was dumb as hell.
I mean, and think about it. A majority of the people on that shuttle were staying at the Stratosphere. So everyone's really ticked off. Okay, a lot of these people probably had really long flights. I mean, Bronson, Aaron, and I definitely had a long flight after going from Reno to San Francisco to Fresno to Las Vegas. It took freaking 8 hours when we could have taken a car.
I am sweating like a hooker in church. I was sweating so much that the leather band on my necklace snapped.
Yeah, and then we finally get to the fucking Stratosphere. And mind you, the Stratosphere is surrounded by a pretty shady neighborhood.
That didn't bother me. I was just like, fuck it, I don't care. Get me in the hotel.
I mean, yeah, like, I think the neighborhood didn't bother any of us at the time. At that point, we were just focused on how tired we were of this fucking driver. And by the time that happened, he was giving us our bags, which was like, finally. Some tips would be nice, people. And we kept it to ourselves, but as we were walking away, we pretty much had this thought. Like, I'm pretty sure everyone had this thought in their mind. It's like, yeah, we've got a fucking tip for you. Be nice, and then you will get your monetary tip.
I almost wanted to go up to him and is like, I have a tip for you. Kill yourself. Like that.
Yeah,
I was super pissed.
I mean, like I said, I was swearing and ranting about this all the way to the check-in counter. But yeah, so anyways, that was like. I'm tempted to say what the company's name is. Like, Bridget had a similar problem with the length of her routes, but at least her driver was a lot nicer.
Yeah, at least her driver wasn't a complete and total asshat. Which, I also, one thing that I also remember about that trip that looking back on it was funny is after that trip and all the sweating I was doing, I needed a shower. Like, I was just dying to take a shower. And like before we could go to the dinner, I had to take a shower, and Bridget comments like, "You're such a fucking girl," and I'm just like, "Look, do you really want to sit by me at dinner when I like am just wringing wet with sweat and smell like I just did a weights workout?" Because
Yeah,
I mean, if you do, I can roll that way, but.
Yeah, that was probably a good thing that you did. Okay, so anyways, that was our tangent. Fucking shuttles in Las Vegas.
You're still mad. This is so funny to me that you're still like.
Look, that shuttle. Look, I don't normally have bad customer service because I tend to not be as whiny as other people sometimes when it comes to customer service, but when you make an agonizing day even worse, I will talk about it. And especially when it is something as important as CES and when it's important as a shuttle and you are basically being an asshat to all of us, I will tell people not to use that company's service.
Yeah,
or at least I am less likely to recommend it because Bridget had a different story, so maybe it was just a case of we were just unlucky enough to have that driver that day. And to be honest, freaking Aaron Bronson and we just got an 8-hour flight where we just sat on like some definite.
We were not in the mood to deal with anything.
We took like a small regional jet to San Francisco, which was okay, but then we had to sit around in San Francisco for a while, paying for its overpriced food. And then we took like the world's noisiest turboprop down to Fresno. Then took a similar plane of the same type down to Las Vegas. So we're burnt out. We're tired. We just want to get to the hotel. And then we proceed to sit in a fucking shuttle for an hour with that fucking asshat of a driver.
Yeah, look,
I don't swear this much, but when I do, it clearly says you're doing something wrong.
No, we were not ready for that. Like we were expecting like. Even I was expecting, like, okay, we're going to get there. It's going to be, like, a 20-minute drive real quick in, like, a standard shuttle. Like, no one expected that crap. So, Anyways,
I went on a tangent there, but anyways, back to fees. That was leading up to the check-in counter. So now you all understand how bad our moods are at this point. But basically, we thought the hotel was paid off for because we got our receipts that says hotel paid for under this person's name. We come up to the counter and then they're like, "Yes, you need to pay a resort fee now." Oh, what? Now. I kind of looked on the internet just before, and I noticed that some people are mentioning that the resort fee is not included in the hotel's price, which is pretty shady.
Which is bullshit. That's what I call it. It
kind of makes sense. It's like we can give you a really cheap rate, but then you got to pay more up front at the counter. Like, it's like it's not like with gasoline where if you go to the gas station, the price you see is exactly the price you will pay the moment you're done filling up your car. That makes sense. All taxes and fees have already been included in that price. But in the case of freaking this hotel, I'm having to pay a resort fee, so I had to pay all of it out of pocket. So it's just kind of like, what the hell? That is kind of like the same annoyances that I get when I look at Microsoft, where it's like, we have all of this stuff right here. sorry, it's kind of like I paid for Netflix, but then I have to pay a fee to use it on this box.
Yeah, well, I mean, so like I was saying though, like it feels shitty. Like it feels like you are like it doesn't feel like I'm getting something. It feels like you're holding this shit hostage. Versus like PlayStation Plus feels like I'm getting something. I'm getting access to all these great
To
games.
use the radio in your car, please pay us a fee of $20 a year.
Yeah, versus satellite radio. That's a very good comparison. This is the Xbox
To use
Live.
the basic functionings of your stereo, which is like FM radio, pay us a fee of $20 a year. And another $10 fee for the CD player.
Yeah,
And
versus
another $30 fee for the audio jack, and another $40 fee for iPod integration.
versus
Per month,
PSN
per
Plus.
year.
Yeah. Versus
Whereas
PSN Plus, which is like, here, pay $10 for satellite radio. Yeah.
And you get a much
Anyway.
bigger selection of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially Games for Gold. Like that Games for Gold program, I've been a member since September-ish. And I think I would say that out of like the almost a year's worth of games they've given us, I'd say maybe 1/8 of them aren't shit.
Yeah,
so
see, like, when I looked at Games Gold, everyone's like,
let me
Games
say
Gold.
aren't shit or incredibly old.
I mean, like, I looked at Games Gold and everyone's like, oh, Games Gold isn't very good. I'm just like, it's their first freaking year.
Yeah, but the first year PSN Plus had some good stuff.
I know, but do you really think, like, anybody can go out the door, like, super amazing like that?
I mean, hold on,
I understand the selection isn't very good, but it's just like the first couple months was kind of like, maybe we should just wait instead of like being extremely judgmental straight out the door.
All right, I'm gonna look up what we got on the first year of PSN Plus. So, oh, whoops, not.
We'll just say it was better.
Okay, yeah, no,
sake
I'm
of
looking
time.
at this. Yeah, these are fucking great games. Like for the Vita and for the PlayStation.
Actually, we wouldn't call it free games. We would call it rentals. Free rentals. Rentals.
You have access as long as you have the service. So, I mean, let's look at this shit. The first year, Infamous 2, Little Big Planet 2, The Walking Dead, Resident Evil 5, Borderlands, Uncharted, Super Street Fighter 4, Demon Souls, Sleeping Dog. First off, they got access to Sleeping Dogs when it was like 4 months old. Spec Ops: The Line, Vanquished, Darksiders. By the way, I'm only naming games that were relatively recent when they came on Plus and good games. Pac-Man DX, Outland, Gravity Rush, Wipeout, Retro City Rampage, Mega Man X, Ninja Gaiden, The Cave, Mega Man 9 and 10, Jet Force Gemini, Mutant Blob's Attack, Quantum Conundrum, Scott Pilgrim, Double Dragon Neon. I mean, that's just like, Payday 2, The Heist. Like that's not all. That's just games that I personally like that came out in the first year, and I didn't even name all the ones I enjoyed. What have we gotten in the first year of Xbox Live that I've enjoyed? Sleeping Dogs, and at this point, Sleeping Dogs is older than dirt. And then, like, oh man, Halo 3. Thank you for giving me access to Halo 3.
The problem with Halo 3... See, Halo 3 for me, like, it made no sense, because it's like, hey guys, we're giving out a game that every Xbox 360 owner already has played. Or they've already played the new version.
And if they even want to play Halo 3, they can get it for, like, $4. Hey, Anthony, can we take a quick 5-minute break and then pick up back up? All right. We'll be back with this continued rant in a minute. All right. Hey, everyone. We're back. Sorry about the little break there, but I had to take care of some things. So,
gotta refill one of the Sims meters.
Yeah, exactly. We should probably start back. We should probably start in on the news as much as we.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
We said we would continue the rant, but I forgot what we were
what
ranting.
our original topic was show progress. Brief history of video games. I know I've talked about this idea. Let's put it this way: that project is in pre-alpha. Okay, so those of you who are
When you
really
say it that way, it's somehow pretty funny.
those of you who are like, oh man, Bronson's writing a brief history of video games. That dude knows a shit ton of video game history. You're right, I do, and I'm very good at doing research. But I keep wanting to write about different topics, and part of me is like, should we go in order? Should we just go from the start? Should I just pick and choose topics I think are cool or interesting? Should we just do what the mass market wants and do Sony, Nintendo? You know, like so.
You mean do topics that everyone has already explored a gazillion times?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so there's a lot of different routes I could go, obviously. And I've started scripts for that show and outlines for it, and so I want to talk to and Anthony and I have talked to Anthony about this, possibly setting up a way to do more video reviews, in his style, but a little more watered down, so we could get a couple more out. We've talked about a lot of things. We're always trying. The thing is we're a very small staff with a very limited budget, and we're always trying to put out great content for you guys. And a lot of it. So that means at times that it can be difficult. It's like I would love to do a video review of every game we write a review for. Like that is the dream. And I'm not going to say we're going to be able to do that if we water this process down, but we could probably hit a lot more of those goals. And then like I said, we're going to finish up Super Mega Awesome Go Playtime, and that means another show can start its conceptual phase and get made because we don't have to spend. How long does it take you to edit that show? About an hour for a week's worth of edits?
Um, for Super Mega Single Playtime, yeah, to make the drag and drop edits is like 20-30 minutes, but then you gotta wait for the videos to finish rendering, check to make sure the videos actually turned out okay, and then type up descriptions and uploading them. So it's more complicated than
About
just
an hour or two, like
an hour or two. Like I would say, it probably takes about an hour and a half to get like 3 or 4 videos fully finished and rendered and ready to upload. And yeah,
yeah. So I mean, and then you factor in the fact that we record an hour or two of that game along with our hour or two of 60-minute access. And it just, like that's 4 hours that could be going to top 10ish or a brief history of video games, or we've tossed an idea of the idea around of a retro show where we play retro games. This is going to be a project that I am also that's also in pre-alpha that I'm actually considering putting on a fast track. That's the anime show where I review anime. Uh, yeah. So if, but yeah, like what do you guys want to see? What kind of, are there different like I literally have a million different show ideas. If Anthony and I had a bigger staff and all day to do this, like we would embarrass sites like GameSpot, who's like you look at GameSpot's shows section and there's like 6 shows.
one that just got killed.
One that just got canceled. It used to be actually no, it used to be 7. One just got canceled, so it's like 6. You know. But so tell us what you want to see because I have a bunch of ideas and maybe one of those ideas links if you guys really want to see it. Super Mega Awesome Go Playtime is ending soon, at least this season. I know every time that we put like final episodes, like, what? It's ending? Oh God! And I'm like, no, it's just we don't want to let's play a game right now. So I don't
It'll
know.
come
Anthony?
back when we have the energy.
Yeah, it'll come back when we're like, man, we haven't done a let's play in a while.
Man, there's a cool game that we really want to play and commentate about for more than 60 minutes.
Yeah, like I'm actually playing Dead Rising 3 right now, and I think it'd actually be a solid 60-minute access game.
Maybe.
Like I've been playing. Yeah, it has some funny shit. I'm not even gonna lie. It's been a lot of fun. Like I combined a buzzsaw and a sledgehammer. and like I wield it like Darth Maul wields like his weird double-ended lightsaber.
A Sith saber. Yeah.
Yeah, that thing. So yeah, that game just has a bunch of wacky stuff in it. Like I've been running around half naked, just running over zombies with this like motorcycle that has like blades equipped to it.
You know what you're reminding me of right now is my some of my college buddies showed me this new game on Steam called Goat Simulator.
That game is so stupid, but I love it.
It's not really a simulator, but it's so dumb that you get good entertainment out of it just watching the goat just ricochet into the air via propeller. Yeah.
Yeah, there's not an actual game there in Dead Rising at least.
I know, but at least Goat Simulator, from what my friend showed me of his stream last night, has a lot of great entertainment value. Even though it is really stupid.
So, anyway, we should. So that's our like. And as for Nick's gaming view, talk to Nick. He says he wants to bring it back, but we don't.
Yeah, we don't know the details on that.
As for what the hell, I know. Look, I know you guys want more. What the hell? She's making them as fast as she can.
Expect an episode at the time this podcast is up. I need to work on my speech.
By the time this podcast is up.
Yeah, hopefully. I mean, as of right now, she already sent me the video. So
it was good. It was funny. And like the one thing I would say about Kyrie is she knows how to write comedy.
She knows how to. Yeah, she's very good at comedy.
Bronson Rants. I've actually been in the mood to produce that show recently. I know in my next episode, I'm going to give you the topic right now, the value of games. Because I recently got in a conversation on Facebook that we talked about on this podcast a couple weeks ago, and it got me thinking about the value of games. I almost wrote an editorial, but I was like, fuck it,
You've got a show. You've got a show.
Yeah, which means that show is actually a little bit easier to do than an editorial in some ways because I only have to write an outline instead of a full script. Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the Star Wars rant, though. I don't know, Anthony, what did you think of it?
Well, Star Wars is not my childhood. I mean, I know I watched the films, but I was so young that I don't remember them. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, actually my main memories of Star Wars films was when I was very little and the prequel trilogy happened. So I remember episode 1 with its racing machines and all kind of stuff.
I think episode 1 is okay.
I remember seeing episode 1 and I definitely remember the racing ship part. Young Anakin racing, right? That was him. I don't know. And I remember episode 2, which I'm just like I was barely old enough to even understand movies at that point. I'm just like,
that movie came out when I was like 13. Yeah, okay, yeah, you were a little bit. You're a little younger than me, so yeah, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, it was just like I wasn't really comprehending things, but I just remember thinking, like, I don't get this. How's this exciting?
No, it's not. It's like I remember. That's why we're talking about this because Bob.
I just remember. The vivid image that I remember of episode 2, which I do believe is the perfect image of what everyone probably thought episode 2, which is Anakin with I forgot what Padme just standing there out in the water, just looking at each other. I'm just like, I don't get this, and that was pretty much, and I'm pretty sure that's a valid thought because that wasn't what I was thinking about Star Wars at the time.
So. Bob Chipman just did a episode of his Big Picture show on The Escapist about Star Wars, and he said it perfectly. Episodes 1 and 3 are average action movies, and episode 2 is a rancid piece of shit.
I mean, Anakin in episode 2, like episode 2 Anakin Skywalker was just kind of like, he basically was completely designed to look like a fangirl's dream.
And this would explain why a lot of the girls
Dante
I know
look. That, like, the two of them at a fraternity In college? Yeah.
Dude, no, those guys would get their ass kicked at a fraternity.
Okay.
Like
I don't
they
know.
would cry too much.
Okay.
Like
Never mind about that part then. But anyways, New Dante and Episode 2 Anakin Skywalker, those two would be great buddies right there.
like I know
just
people
that seductive teenage boy band Disney Nickelodeon look is how I would describe it.
All right.
But anyways,
right.
yeah, like I remember episode 2. Episode 3 I completely didn't bother seeing it. And what's really weird is that I know I watched all 6 Star Wars movies because when I was in high school, everyone was just like, how could you not have seen the Star Wars movies? So I decided to ask my uncle if I could borrow his DVDs because he was a big Star Wars fan. Like he freaking bought me Star Wars games, and he has like a collection of little Star Wars figures and
you and I played Rogue Squadron 2, and both of us were like, "Oh God, this game is fucking amazing."
Yeah, like for me, like I had Star Wars games, and that's just how I remember it. Like I didn't really watch the movies, and I watched all 6 movies. It's kind of weird. Like today, I don't remember much of what I watched, which is very strange. I just knew the original trilogy was obviously a lot better. So you know, unfortunately, when I saw
like I look at the original trilogy, and the first one, just Star Wars, or as it's called now, A New Hope, it's a great movie. Like it is solid. Empire Strikes Back is one of the greatest movies of all time, and then Jedi is another great movie, but it doesn't live up to Empire. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, but yeah, like I don't remember seeing those 6 films. What's weird is that I keep remembering the prequel better than the original for some reason. Like if you asked me, so can you explain to me in detail, or I wouldn't say detail, some of the details of the original trilogy plotline, I'd be like, yeah, I don't know.
We need to have a Star Wars weekend. We
probably do, because I know I watched those films.
I want to know if our fans think this is a good idea, because I've seen one other YouTuber / website do this, and I thought it was the coolest fucking idea. And it's where we do movie commentaries. Now, obviously, we can't do what we do now, where we put our voices over it, because we would get sued super hard. But what we could do is we can put the audio file up, and you guys can hit play when you hit play on the movie. So
yeah,
we could,
it's like some old-fashioned syncing.
Yeah, so
but that's like the only legal way we could do that.
So what you have to do for riff tracks, you would have to do for us. If you want us to do that, you know what? I'm going to post a separate video if you like, because first off, that'd be super easy for us to fucking produce. Like that would be super easy.
We just sit and watch a movie and just talk like we normally do during movies at home.
Yeah.
It's just the easiest. It's just the laziest job ever.
And Anthony would get caught up on a bunch of movies.
Probably.
That'd be great.
And that's these movies are only like 2 hours, 2.5 hours long at most. At most. Yeah, so for us, it's kind of like it's better than a game because we don't have to play through a whole game. We just watch an entire movie and talk.
Yeah. So I mean,
review a movie when it's over.
So I mean,
but nah,
I'm gonna do it, Anthony. We should do a separate video asking our fans if this is a good idea, because I know all of them don't listen to this. So if there's a big video on the front page saying like, "Hey, pay attention. We want your opinion for something."
Yeah, maybe.
Because I think that'd be a really cool idea, because I saw them. They did it for Pokemon The Origin. They did it for a couple other things, and I thought this is a fucking amazing idea. How come no one else is doing this? You know?
But anyways, it's like I said, yeah. So Star Wars, I just remember the games better, and I remember the prequel trilogy better. I know that much, and I remember the prequel trilogy as like I don't get it kind of moment really. But then again, I was probably too young to get it, and I didn't watch Episode 3. Until like I was in high school, so yeah. But my memory, I can't talk.
I also just realized that GameFly is gonna have Blu-ray movies soon of new releases. So I mean, we could totally do that for new movies too that just hit Blu-ray.
I mean, somehow I got a sense that if we somehow watch the original trilogy on Blu-ray, we're just gonna complain constantly how it's been edited.
Well, I don't think you'll complain that much because you don't.
Actually, I kind of do actually. because it's like I kind of care that I see the movie in its original form that is so great instead of like I remember when I reached episode 6, I'm just like, wait a minute, they edited that Anakin Skywalker and that is not clearly he doesn't look like that in 1980s.
That was dumb.
That made no sense to me because it's like I want to like, and I see like CG Yoda, I think, and
yeah, but like there's
CG Jabba the Hutt, and I'm just like, I kind of want to see this film as it was in the early 80s because if it's so great, I want to see it as it were when it was so great.
I will go track down some Star Wars VHS tapes.
Man, that's going to be really expensive. Those things are like prized collectibles now.
And I have, like, yeah, if they're in good condition. And I have my VCR in my closet still. So, you know. Yeah. I really should get, like I keep my VCR around literally for, like, 4 movies I have on VHS. I should probably just go buy those on DVD.
Hey guys, a VHS. It's a, I don't even know what the acronym stands for, but basically it's a video cassette. Anybody remember those? I mean, we're like the last ones to ever know what those are.
We're the last one who knows a lot of stuff. Like we're the last ones.
We're like the last ones to know what a video cassette is because most people who are younger than us now grew up on the DVD. And for us, DVD happened when we were about 8 years old, so we had some memories of VHS.
Like, I remember when we got our first DVD player, it was a PS2.
Like, the first DVD player that my family got was this big 3-disc DVD player, and this thing was huge. And
I also remember when we first got that PS2, I played a lot of games on it, but then I stopped because I beat the games that I got with it. And then, like, my parents just took it over as a DVD player. And I'm like, hey, I want to play games on it. They're like, too bad, we're watching movies.
I also remember that.
And then, like, they kind of conceded that, like, I used their own logic against them. Because it was like, okay, no, we were the one who paid for the big TV. You can use it when we're not using it. And I'm like, well, I paid for that PlayStation 2. So, like, they had to play by their own logic. So, like, shit. So, like
DVD was like a big deal because it's like originally it was like DVD and then, it was VHS, like the video cassettes. And there were some really cool things I loved about the VHS, such as you can fast forward or rewind smoothly. Because the problem with DVDs, and to this day still it's the case, is that you get like like brief moments, whereas with the video cassette you get like a smooth playback of whatever you're fast forwarding or rewinding through, which is pretty darn cool. And but when DVD came out, all of a sudden it was just like, oh my goodness, the picture quality is so much better. Oh my goodness, you get menus and you can jump to certain points in your movie so easily.
You can jump to your favorite scene.
That was a big freaking. Can you imagine that, watching the first Harry Potter movie on DVD? That was a big deal for me when I was little.
I didn't actually get around to watching Harry Potter on DVD until the second or third movie.
Yeah, like freaking. Oh, this is another big thing that I remember that was such a big deal when we got DVD back in the day. So freaking, we had DVD. Harry Potter, the first movie came out. And mind you, people people around my age and Bronson's age, we connect with Harry Potter so much because the actor is only like a little bit older than us or about the same age.
Yeah.
But it was so cool because DVD came out surround sound. Like my dad was like setting up like 4-speaker surround sound, soon to be like 4.1. And freaking, can you imagine watching Quidditch with that surround sound setup? It was like the most cool. It was like the coolest thing ever.
Surround sound never blew my mind because we always had it. We had surround sound when I was like as far as back as I can remember, because my grandmother bought like the first sets and then she upgraded and gave her, like, she would keep upgrading and so we'd keep getting her hand-me-down. So we had surround sound in like 1995. Or close to it.
But with DVD,
and these speakers were fucking huge. Like these speakers were like 4 feet tall.
I know, but
like, these things were huge.
But VHS didn't have like 5.1 surround sound, whereas DVD could. So you could have one very specific speaker be like the crowd, and you'd be like and you get like suddenly this new sense of perception that you never had with stereo. So it was just
Yeah,
at the time that was a big deal. Now, obviously, that being said, home theater setups are they're just really expensive. Like you freaking had to buy the expensive amplifier with the expensive subwoofer.
I was actually at Walmart recently, and I was like, well, my TV is getting really, really old, so maybe I'll take a look. And first off, I found out, man, TVs have really dropped in price, like just drastically.
Like, well, yeah. Like you remember the beginning of 2013 when 4K was the new thing at CES. Those
Yeah,
TVs costed like $13,000, and then we get to now, only a year and 3 months later, and guess what? You can get a 4K TV for like $3,000.
like I saw this, it was a 50-inch Samsung, and it was under $1,000, and I was just like, fuck.
Man, our brains look, Bronson. Our brains are kind of stuck in the last decade. Because we were just thinking like it's the year 2007. LCDs are asinine expensive.
TV is $1 billion. Like yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely get that, but like I remember when DVD came out, one of the big things was the picture quality difference. And like at first everyone bitched like widescreen, but then they finally figured like they finally figured out that it actually allows them to see more of the movie. But yeah, oh man, like there are a lot of good pluses to DVD. And like I said, our first DVD was a PS2, which I feel that was a lot more people than anyone lets on. Like
it probably is.
Like I know tons of people where their first Blu-ray player was a PS3, but like yeah, like just almost everyone I know, their first Blu-ray player was a PS3. So yeah, I don't know. Like I never did the whole let's convert all my movie to DVD thing, and I still haven't done that for Blu-ray either. Oh, let's convert all my DVDs to Blu-ray. I am at the point though where I only buy movies in Blu-ray. Like I will first off, I don't buy movies that often. I typically download them because they're still 1080p. So like my brain's just like, yeah, just buy it on PlayStation Network. Yeah, that's just how that works.
Okay, yeah, but man, DVD was such a big deal. Blu-ray is not as big of a revolution because I think it's kind of more like a step forward from DVD instead of this colossal leap from going from VHS to DVD.
Oh yeah,
I mean it's kind of like from a LCD display perspective. It's like going from SD to HD. Going to 1080p, but going from 1080p to 4K it's really nice, but it's not really quite the next big revolution. It's just the next step forward.
Yeah, real quick step back to original tangent I was having there about when I was in Walmart. First off, TVs have dropped in price massively, and I was just like, maybe in another year or two. I am sticking with this beautiful thing I bought in 2009 for a little longer. You know. But I noticed TVs just fucking free fall in price. And then I looked at fucking surround sound stereo systems, and because I passed by it on my way to get oil for my car, and I was like, I might as well browse around. And I looked at the surround sound systems, and I was like, man, that is really fucking cool. But like the cheapest ones are like $300, and I'm just like, dude, not happening. Because like I know you don't get that rumble of your house or piss off your neighbors, but
if you live in an apartment, you will piss off your neighbors. If you live in the suburbs,
if you live in a house, I lived like I said, I lived in a suburb, and my dad would piss off our neighbors constantly.
Well, that's because he probably turns his stuff up extra loud.
Yeah, he does. I remember he would when cleaning the house, he would turn up Eric Clapton and Bon Jovi as loud as humanly possible. I could literally hear the music from these 4-foot tall speakers like across the street, like 4 houses down. And I'm just like, it was like being inside his house, that house when he turned his shit up all the way. It was like being at a rock concert. You know.
Wow. Yeah, but yeah. So
So,
yeah, like surround sound like
my
nowadays
dad,
though.
like my dad's logic, like we had a tendency to have really shitty neighbors. So my dad's response was instead of calling the cops, he would just be really shitty back. Like when we lived on the third floor of an apartment, uh, when he was growing his company, I was like 6 or 7 or 8. Our neighbors would constantly, like one time they broke a window of ours. One time, like they did a bunch of really shitty stuff. So he knew that they had to sleep at a certain time of day. Like he knew their sleep schedule because you kind of get a general idea of it when you live on top of someone. Uh, so what he would do is he would play his music fucking unbelievably loud and dance around the house. And I mean like dancing with a lot of jumping. And it's like, what are they gonna do? Complain to the landlord? That we're gonna be like, yeah, that dude cut one of our tires, so they can't do anything. So all they do is just sit there really pissed off. Uh, no, my dad, and then when we lived in a neighborhood, our neighbors didn't ever complain, but they had a tendency to work power tools at weird hours of the day. So I think that was kind of like the trade. I think there was kind of like a mutual trade off there of where, oh, you work graveyard, so you're gonna run your chain, so you're gonna chop down your trees and mow your lawn at like 11 at night. Well, it's 12 afternoon on a Sunday. Prepared to hear taking care of business louder than you've ever heard it before. So,
Wow.
uh, yeah. Uh, yeah, my dad was a really cool dude. Like, God, he was so fucking like. That's what I say. My dad, he was one of the coolest people ever. Uh, wildly irresponsible sometimes, yes, but super cool, super intelligent. Anyway,
Yeah.
God, where did we
Well,
leave off?
we were talking about Star Wars, and then that led to like DVDs. But anyways, like Star
What were we
Wars,
talking about before Star Wars?
your Bronson Rants episode, which led
Oh,
us to talk about Star Wars. But anyways, like so to back up, like a finished function call on computer science for those people who understand that bad reference. Yeah, so it's like Star Wars. So yeah, that was like the films, but when I was like editing your Bronson rants, I had to install some games onto my old computer, this XP computer. So because I have like Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Battlefront 2. Jedi Knight 2. The problem is that you kind of had to play it for about maybe 5 or 10 hours before you can get your lightsaber. So it was mostly a first-person shooter. And Jedi Academy, like same problem. You don't really get the cool stuff until you play it for like a couple hours at least. So those didn't exactly invoke nostalgia as much. Battlefront 2, though, on the other hand, wow, that brings back some memories. Like I think Battlefront 2 did a better job explaining the movies than the movies did. Explaining the plot at least, because the story of Battlefront 2 is basically just a bunch of maps made into a story. So it's like you get maps with like mission points instead of a linear corridor that you run down like in most shooters these days. So it was really cool because you basically play as a soldier in the 501st. In the Clone Wars, which actually was a pretty decent way of explaining it, and also in the Empire days, because the 501st in the Star Wars universe is famously known as Vader's Fist. So it's pretty freaking cool. You play as a stormtrooper.
all right.
It brought back a lot of memories, so yeah.
So back to Bronson rants. Because of my more evened out schedule now, I'm gonna be able to do that more frequently. So kind of expect that to make a return. Anyway, we should get on to news. Now that people know behind the production process. Yeah, I know.
1 hour and 20 minutes in, we are now on the news.
So this week's news week might as well be like, hey, PAX East is here, and holy shit, Super Smash Brothers. But I'm going to clear up the small stuff first. Borderlands 2 is getting a prequel set between Borderlands 1 and 2. It's being developed by 2K Australia. That's pretty much it.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, I don't know. Take that how you will. Infamous Second Son sold over 1 million copies in 9 days. It is the fastest selling game in the series.
Very nice.
Good job, Sucker Punch. I love that game. And I am back on my way to. So, I fell off my weight loss program last year, and I've just literally started hopping back on it. Uh, and I looked around my house, and I have most of the stuff to cosplay good Delson, like when you have 100% good karma. So I have considered doing that, but only if I lose a shit ton of weight. So, yeah. Oh, good job. That's a great game. Nick gave it a 9. I agree with the score. 100%. Yeah. Anyway, Killer Instinct is getting a story mode along with adding full gore. He's the final character in the game's first season, and new achievements are being allowed with it. There's also online lobbies being added. We still don't know when season 2 will begin, but Microsoft hinted that the final boss character next season will be, quote, really nasty and also playable. It is being developed by the Dive Kick and Street Fighter 3 port teams, Iron Galaxy.
So, Killer Instinct is now being worked by Dive Kick people. You now have Killer Instinct with 2 buttons on the new game mode. You've got Ultra Combo for one button and Combo Breaker on the other button. The Ultra Combo guy needs to time his buttons correctly to pull that Ultra Combo off, where the Combo Breaker person has to also time the button to break that combo. And you do that the whole time. Or something like that. It's like... Anyways, yeah, that mode doesn't actually exist. It's just a joke, but that's pretty interesting.
All right.
Because W Helix got bought by Amazon, actually.
Those guys love fighting games. Those guys love fighting games. So I wouldn't be surprised if it turned out really well.
Okay.
So anyway, moving forward, Blizzard has filed a new trademark. Overwatch Blizzard's website has been updated with a subcategory unannounced game tile. With Hearthstone, Blizzard's traditional has revived the tradition of creating small and nimble game teams, and we are following in those footsteps. Reads the outline for a future lead producer. So yeah. Moving forward with
okay.
So continuing the small news story list. The Last of Us Remastered coming to PS4. It is going to come out this summer. It is going to include the Left Behind single-player expansion, Abandoned Territories map pack, Reclaimed Territories map pack. Let's see. Whether they haven't said if it. See, if you pre-order it, you're gonna get a bunch of cool stuff for multiplayer and single player, and you're gonna get some bonus skins after you complete the single player. Not much else coming out summer 2014. I'll say this: it was our game of the year last year, and I will totally replay a prettier Last of Us. That is
The Last of Us is tied with Zelda Skyward Sword as the closest to a perfect game I've ever played. I have so much respect for that game. It's one of the best I've ever seen. So, which probably should indicate that I really need to go buy that game before I can't buy it. Because, if I respect the game that much, I should own it. So, Yeah. All right, next
Yeah,
news story.
yeah, I
Actually,
don't know.
to see that in PS4 is going to be pretty interesting, actually,
Yeah, no, we are totally.
because
If they release the stupid patch by then, we'll totally do 60-minute access of it.
like freaking the PS3 version pushed used every single little conceivable drop of power that cell processor and the reality synthesizer could muster. That is like the technical pinnacle of PlayStation 3 um, hardware right there. Like that's like the kind of stuff that they promised like way back in 06. It just took them quite a long time to get to this point. Like you play Uncharted 2, which we said is like a very technically impressive game. After playing The Last of Us, Uncharted 2 doesn't look as good. um, but yeah, The Last of Us is the AI is amazing, the gameplay is amazing, the story is amazing. It looks like everything about it is amazing. I haven't played the multiplayer though, so I can't comment on that part yet.
Yeah, so we'll check that out later this year. So the final big two things are we're saving Smash Bros. For last, everyone, because save the best for last. PAX East is happening this weekend because this show does get posted Fridays. So PAX East is happening this weekend, or it just started probably by the time this is posted. And I'm going to read off some of the big things from the schedule that are, ooh, you should probably go see this if you are going. And if you are not going, there are going to be plenty of live streams. And if you are going, I'm incredibly jealous, and probably so is Anthony.
I'm kind of so
Anthony?
used to missing out on PAX now that just kind of you're slowly building up intolerance to not being there. I
See,
guess.
I've been, so every time I don't go, it's just like, oh. Anyway,
Does it get any does it does the withdrawal lessen over time, or does it still
no, it just
does,
makes you want to go to the next one, whatever the next one is, 1,000 times more.
I see. But they make it 1,000 times harder because that tiny convention center can't fit everything.
Yeah, well, PAX East, they actually can fit everyone.
Yeah. And you and I could go,
So,
we could somehow like afford thousands of like $1,000 like 500
$500
$600
plane ticket. Yeah,
plane tickets
about.
and pay for a decent hotel in the Boston area.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's for the future.
Yeah, so, uh, anyway, League of Legends YouTuber panel, how League becomes your entertainment. That's at 10 in the morning, 10:30 in the morning. They have their opening ceremony speech with the dude who founded Harmonix. And at that same time, here is the Storm stuff is going on. I'm just trying. Once again, I'm just trying to get the highlights. 12 noon, Rooster Teeth. At that same time, the future of PC gaming. Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. Oh, this one actually says, why no one will game with you. So that one's about LFG and people being jerks. The sports video game crisis.
LFG.
Looking for group.
Right, so random groups then. Okay.
Okay, so let's see. 6 months into the new console war at 2 o'clock Friday. Mario Kart 7 tournament 2:30 Friday. Junior has joined your party. That one's about raising a kid, uh, you know, but like playing games with him and MMOs in particular. Which let me tell you right now, do not start your child playing MMOs. That's how that is the gateway drug, not weed. You know, do you really want your child to turn out like our old friend Quinn? You know, I mean,
I mean, I guess
turned
it's
it around later in his life, but first he had to go to Job Corps, and before that he was playing WoW like 13 hours a day and not leaving his room for like days at a time.
See, I think that's one of those difficult things is that we always talk about it as a drug, but we kind of like joke about it because like you and I are old enough to understand that we have responsibilities in life to take care of. Like, very important responsibilities come first, like paying bills, earning money, important stuff, school. Like, we're old enough to understand that, but when you're younger, you don't really get that sense quite yet, because the worst thing that could happen to you when you're 10 years old is getting grounded. That's about the most you've got to worry about, usually.
Yeah, and, as far as, you as a parent should watch how much your kids play. I know my parents always had the Bronson go fucking outside. And they finally stopped that when I was about 14 or 15, because they realized, okay, he's old enough to, know to do his homework first and take care of business. So yeah, I mean,
I play a lot of MMOs right now, and I could totally see why this could be a problem if a 14-year-old got hooked a little too hard. Because it provides all of the satisfying feelings that the real world doesn't have, which can be a big problem. Because it's already pretty hard because I've learned, because I personally have been there at times, it's pretty hard to convince a 14-year-old why they should be doing other things than having fun with a video game. Because, other things are boring. Other things don't give me fun. Oh, you're just telling me to do other things because you're just trying to make my life more dull. You probably could come up with
that, but, it's, games can offer a sense of validation that the real world doesn't. Especially for teenagers, because, in a game, it rewards you for being smart and persevering, and,
it does it very quickly.
It feeds a lot of real world needs, and it does it just fucking automatically. Versus real life, which especially in your teenage years, can just double middle fingers. Fuck all. How long were Anthony and I writing and making videos before we got some recognition for it?
How long have I been pounding my head against the wall at this college degree?
No.
You think about it, in a video game, we're talking about MMOs since that's probably the biggest culprit. In an MMO, if you pound your head against the wall enough, after about a month, working maybe 5 or 6 hours a day in that game, you'll eventually get something that's going to look super cool, and you can show it off to everybody that you worked really hard for it, right? In the real world, you have to work 4 or 5 years. Pounding your head against the wall to get your college degree. And even then, a college degree may not guarantee you a job. So it's just one problem after another, constantly. Whereas in a game, in this fantasized universe, the game developers have a goal of making it fun, so they don't want to make it extremely, 4 years of pain to get something. So they make it so you can get it in maybe about a month or two, instead of 4 years. That's one example. The game constantly rewards you for little things all the time. Hey, go out and do this thing for 5 seconds, for 5 minutes, and we will give you this much money. Whereas the real world doesn't do that at all, actually. Maybe sort of does, but for the most part it doesn't. In the real world, you actually have to go through the whole process of proving why they should pay you. And then once you get hired, then you gotta work really hard for your money. So instead of the game where it's just go over there, kill $5, come back, and here's some money. Games like an MMO can really, really, really take care of that inner need far better than life can, which it can spiral out of control. I guess that's just kind of I guess that's how you get stories all the time about World of Warcraft. That was basically it. We kind of grew up in it because it's our generation just probably was the one that caught the start, that kind of was a part of that problem, because it was In the 90s, you didn't really have that because the internet wasn't exploding yet. And then when Warcraft came, World of Warcraft just kind of happened right when the internet started to explode. So, yeah. So, I guess it's really important to understand life responsibilities.
Anyway, that's cool that they got that they got something like that set up. Anyway, continuing on with this list of stuff. Burnout tournament, Nvidia panel, Don't Starve tournament. How the fuck does that work? That is a game that you literally play until it ends. Like, the whole point is literally it's a survival game. You play until you die.
Well, I guess it's a tournament to see who is willing to survive the longest and not enjoy the rest of PAX.
So, like, someone just sits there for, like, 32 hours at PAX? That'd be hilarious.
And not enjoy anything else.
Yeah,
Stay even though the building is shut.
Yeah, Mario Kart Double Dash tournament, which I'm telling everyone right now that Mario Kart Double Dash, if there's an actual tournament for that, you got lucky. Because Quinn and I wanted to go to a Double Dash tournament at PAX Prime, but because copies of that game are so rare, we actually just had to play Mario Kart Wii. Which sucked because Quinn and I were going to enter a 2v2s tournament and dominate everyone yet. Yeah. So anyway, moving forward. Break on through the future of game music. Super Smash Bros. Brawl Tournament Part 1. Cards Against Humanity. And I think I just missed it. Oh, Friday night concerts. The concerts Friday night are Bit Brigade, which they're okay. Metroid Metal, who in concert is awesome. And Anamanaguchi, who, Anthony, I want your opinion of them, because I play them in the radio when you and I go out constantly. Yeah.
Oh. Wait, what? My opinion of him now or later?
Now, like that, the Anamanaguchi, the chiptune stuff.
Well, you play a lot of music in my car, so I'm not particularly certain which song. Is it like the one with the 8-bit bit? Thing?
Yeah, that kind of stuff. Like, hold on,
I probably need to like hear more of the songs from those guys before I can think of an opinion.
Actually, ironically enough, had it on a song. Hold on. Yeah, that probably is not.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Thinking. I probably need to listen to more of their music before I can make up my mind.
Anyway, all right. Anyway, moving forward. So that's Friday. PAX East has not added a Monday, so yet. 10:30 a.m. is Make a Strip for Penny Arcade. Street Fighter tournament at 12 noon. Let's see. I'm just once again just reading the kind of big stuff. Next generation MMOs. What's the next multiplayer trends? Why D&D is still awesome. A 40th anniversary tribute. Let's see. Mega 64 panel. Saturday night concerts, which feature the Double Clicks MC Frontalot and the Video Game Orchestra. Wow, that is really weird. It's kind of weird that the Video Game Orchestra is closing. Or, Anthony? Hello?
I'm sorry. I'm just very distracted by the free-to-play trailer.
God damn it.
What? Does it take a long time to repeat it?
Saturday night concerts are the Double Clicks, MC Frontalot, the VGO. I find that weird because the VGO is not normally the closer. Huh. That is odd.
Yeah, that's pretty weird.
As my favorite panel of every PAX, and every time I take someone to it, even if they aren't fans of them, they agree that that they love their panel at least. The Giant Bomb PAX Taipei 2016 panel preview show. So yeah, and this is their advertisement for it. It's deep in preparation for the panel they would deliver at PAX 2016. Join Jeff, Vinny, Brad, and the rest of the gang as they workshop their Taiwanese materials and talk about Taiwan's estimated $307 billion export business. Did you know that over 27% of export business is to China? Do you hate looking at, quote, Wikipedia for, quote, facts about Taiwan? Come to this panel where we actually won't be talking about any of this meaningless, silly nonsense. Uh, Anyway, 9:30 console launch as a post-mortem. Do 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 do. Uh, wow. Anthony,
Yes.
would you like to play the My Little Pony card game?
Uh, sure.
All right. Well, they got a tournament of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so moving forward. Do 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 do. Here we go. Getting past entry level, managing your career in the game industry and beyond. So for those of you who want to get into this horrible, horrible industry, yeah,
With bad working conditions and low pay.
yep. This one could be really neat. Educational video gaming for the millennial generation.
Oh, you know what? That reminds me. Um, I forgot where this discussion came from, but some. Oh yeah, like I had a classmate from last semester talk to me about how education video games don't exist anymore, and when I was growing up in the late '90s and maybe a little bit of the early 2000s, I remember that my parents would buy me these educational video games like Jumpstart First Grade or something like that. I would love this stuff. And how did I learn how to type? Well, I didn't learn how to type through some really boring Ashley teaches typing. I forgot what it's called.
I had Mario teaches typing. But yeah.
I had Jumpstart typing. So you were basically challenging yourself to type faster and more accurately to beat these games, and that stuff was that stuff was a lot of fun. It wasn't like the really, really boring Algebra 1 software disk that I did back in middle school. Now, like Jumpstart for kids, Jumpstart was like the thing for me when I was young. And considering I liked video games, it just kind of made my love for games even better. So, but those don't really exist anymore because I don't know, for whatever reason they just died out.
You can learn something from any game. Part of the reason that I fell in love with reading is because of Final Fantasy. So, hey, games in general are educational. Anyway, the last two are the mythology in and of games, why the Legend of Zelda is just important as the Legend of Beowulf, and the Omegathon / closing ceremonies. What the Omegathon is first off, if you sign up for PAX, you absolutely should agree to be part of the Omegathon because it is a weekend long competition where you compete in a bunch of different games. And then at the very end, if you win, you get a trip for two to the Tokyo Game Show. Completely paid. So, yeah. And also you get to be on stage at PAX and then you get to compete in a lot of fun games. So, anyway, moving forward, past PAX, Smash Bros. They announced a shit ton of stuff. So much stuff. So much Smash Brothers stuff, Anthony.
Yay!
You ready for all this Smash Brothers nonsense?
Let's hear it.
Alright, so first off, they have gotten rid of transformation characters. Period. Just no more transformation characters. Just gone. They're all gone.
Oh, I really don't know how to feel about that because you kind of thought like transformation was always kind of like one of those. They were kind of doing it more for the consistency with the universe.
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like in the case of Pokemon, you actually can probably use it to dodge killer hits. When you do the switch out thing. In the case of Zelda, it was more like, it was more like, it's consistent with Zelda universe. Makes sense.
So they
and actually, in the case of Samus, it's actually pretty freaking cool in Brawl. It made her worse, maybe, or better, but yeah, transformations, I don't know.
All right. Well, anyway, they unveiled the announcement for when both games are supposed to come out. The 3DS is supposed to be this summer, and hoping that it happens before PAX. Anthony, how great would it be? We're in line for the Giant Bomb panel, Smash Brothers tournament.
Woo!
Think about it.
Across 64 different people.
God. Oh yeah.
And you know what? Actually, that would just blow up Actually, that would take forever, and it would just blow up everything.
Yeah, but I also. Oh my god, it was so funny. I remember it was at the 2012 panel with Quinn, and they were talking about Street Pass. Like, yeah, who's Street Passing? Entire room. Yeah, everyone holds up threes, and then just like, all right, Vita owners, near. Me and one other guy.
Nah.
It's great.
Yeah, but it's just gonna be like you're street passing with everybody, and you're exchanging street pass info with each other. You're probably exchanging trophies through that street pass, and then you're just playing it while you're in line. I mean, basically, the only disadvantage I see is that you're gonna have a pretty dead battery really quickly.
Yeah,
I understand that it's just like, oh, why do you need 12 hours of battery life? You don't play for 12 hours straight. Yes, I understand that the 3DS's current battery life suits me perfectly in 99% of situations, but having that awesome battery life for that 1% is a really nice luxury.
So I've actually considered this. With Smash Brothers coming out, I'm going to want a bigger screen. Because that is the type of game that playing on a small screen just sucks ass. So
this is from your experience playing PlayStation All-Stars on the Vita, right?
Yes. That screen is barely the right size for that game. And I do mean barely. Playing that kind of game just sucks ass on a small TV. Seriously, play Smash Brothers on a 20-inch TV, a 30-inch TV, a 40, and a 50, and it is best on that fucking 50-inch every time. So I have very much considered getting an XL, also because the XL has better battery life, and I'd literally be doing this just for Smash. And also because I can finally have a pink DS. Anthony, I've been waiting to get a pink DS for a long, long time.
You probably shouldn't have bought your 3DS so early.
Well, you know what? It ended up being worth it because I got a shit ton of free games out of it. And I played a lot of games that I probably wouldn't have played otherwise because there wasn't much else to play.
Okay.
Anyway, going forward, so it's coming out this summer. Wii U version's coming out in the winter. So there's that. Anyway, the new characters that they're adding are Greninja, also known as the final evolution of Froakie.
It's the frog ninja, people. That's kind of cool.
Sheik, Zero Suit Samus, Yoshi is getting a new character model and some new moves, and Charizard is back. Also, the 3DS version will run the gameplay at 60 frames per second. Let's see. And it will also feature an exclusive mode to the 3DS version called Smash Run Mode, in which players enter a dungeon to collect as many power-ups as possible and then fight each other in an arena. Both versions will have online play, and both versions will have Final Destination modes. And they've actually said they're going to make different versions of Final Destination, which have different themes. So you're not just fighting on the same map with the same music. So there's a Mario Final Destination, and a Zelda, and a da-da-da-da-da-da.
That's pretty awesome.
It finally makes competitive play a little less shitty.
I'm kind of... Did you mention the modes yet?
I'm getting there.
Okay.
I sent you guys that picture today. Which the titles make me laugh.
What, for glory and for fun?
Yeah, well, I'll get there. I'll get there. I'll get there in a minute. Uh, so oh god, hold on. I'm trying to get to the stages for each game. Okay, so that's what I was saying. So where was I? New characters. Smash Mode, Final Destination. I cannot believe they did an entire 30-minute presentation on this. It kind of blows my mind. Anyway, back to what I was saying. Uh, do, do, do. Oh yeah, how multiplayer works. There's gonna be two modes: for fun and for glory. For fun is four players, all items, random map, and it only records wins. For glory, Final Destination only, no items, records wins and losses.
Okay.
So if you're gay and an immense super douche, you're gonna play for glory. If you actually like having fun with this game, you're obviously gonna play for fun. I hate people who play that game competitively. It's just
I think any game can have a competitive spirit, so that's why I'm okay with the for glory mode. Granted, it's probably for a reason. It could be. It's probably more dull, but I think any game can be treated competitively
fair
in some
enough.
way. It's just that in the case of Smash Brothers, it's not traditional, which is why you can't really put it on the same list as Street Fighter.
So,
But hey, there were a lot of people who wanted to take it seriously, so I don't really see much wrong with that.
all right. Well, they've announced some stages for each. I'm gonna read the 3DS versions first. There's gonna be Arena Ferox, which I want to say that's from Fire Emblem. Battlefield, which that's from Brawl. Find Me stage, Gerudo Valley stage, Reset Bomb Forest, Tortimore Island, The Living Room from Nintendogs, Rainbow Road, specifically from Mario Kart 7, Spirit Train, 3D Land, Underground Stage, Lumo City from Pokemon, WVA Boxing Ring from then Tamagotchi Collection New Life Stage from Wii Fit. I don't know, that's pretty good. The ones I'm most excited to play out of that list though are most definitely the Spirit Train and Lumo City. What
Okay.
about you?
I really don't know. I probably need to look at what those stages actually look like pictures or videos of them before I could say, oh, that's super awesome.
All right, well, on the Wii U end of things, you're getting Dr. Wily's Castle, which I guarantee you we're going to be playing that stage constantly just
Oh
because of the
yeah.
music.
Oh yeah.
Just Mega Man music is so good. Battlefield, coming back again. Garden of Hope from Pikmin. Palatuna's Temple from Kid Icarus. Skyloft from Zelda. The WVBA Boxing Ring. Smashville, Animal Crossing. Super Mario Galaxy Stage. Wii Fit Gym. The Windy Hill Zone from Sonic. And Woohoo Island from Wii Sports Resort.
The what island?
The Woohoo Island.
Oh dear.
Or just and also they've announced a couple
Oh
of
wow. Why did they call it that?
they've announced a couple of returning stages. The 3DS is getting Jungle Japes, and I forgot what the Wii U is getting. Uh, Other than the graphical differences, the 3DS is getting cell shaded. The Wii U is getting all pretty glorious HD traditional style.
1080p Smash Brothers is exciting.
Each version will have exclusive stages. Only a handful of characters have been revealed, but we'll get more as it goes. The 3DS version will focus more on character customization. Let's see. Crossplay is not going to be available between the two versions. So, as for music and soundtrack, the Wii U version is going to have just tons and tons of music, all from a bunch of different games. The 3DS version is going to have 2 songs per stage that switch,
Yeah,
very similar to Melee.
that seems pretty light.
Well, they
Well,
gotta
to be
fit it
honest
all.
though, yeah, it's a 3DS game, and yeah, Melee had the same thing on
Uh,
some stages, I believe. So,
they've
yeah.
they've also added bosses to levels, which means like there'll be this boss and everyone can go fight him, and whoever lands the killing blow, it creates a giant explosion, and that could potentially smash out the other players. So far, the two they've revealed have been from Mega Man and uh, Ridley from uh, Jesus, how do I Metroid. As far as new items go, they have unveiled a X Bomb from Kid Icarus, a soccer/football from Wii Fit. The capsule is returning. Samus's Zero Laser. Do do do. Let's see. They've redesigned a couple of items, and for Pokemon, there's going to be 2 types of Pokeballs: Pokeballs and Master Balls. Master Balls are going to drop shit like Arceus and Palkia. Pokeballs are going to drop shit like Blastoise.
That's pretty cool. So everyone's gonna be more desperate for the Master Ball then.
Dude,
Much more desperate.
Yeah.
Because with the
Let's see.
Pokeball, it was kind of like a case of, oh, we're gonna go chase after the Pokeball, but at the same time, there's gonna be some useless Goldeen or Magic card
How
coming out of
many
it.
times have you been fucked by a Pokeball in Smash Brothers, right?
Many times. But with the Master Ball, you're pretty much having this kind of guarantee that unless it is something really pointless, like I'm pretty sure there's some pointless legendary somewhere. Unless it's one of those, you're pretty much likely to get something really uber powerful.
This game is actually going to make me go buy fucking 3 Wii U Pro controllers.
Oh well, I'm already gonna buy one for myself. So
Okay, that's one, but like, okay, the gamepad will be fine for someone to play with, but the other 3 people have to play with something, and no one wants to play with Wiimotes because they're garbage.
well, I could play with a Wiimote because I spent some time playing Brawl with a Wiimote because the Wiimote and nunchuck setup was really confusing, and my GameCube controller was broken, and I didn't have a spare yet.
I forgot to copy my Brawl save over to a flash drive, fucking an SD card before moving it to my Wii U. So now I either have to unlock all that shit on my regular Wii or just wait for this game, or play with. Well, I have one classic controller, so I guess I could go buy a couple of those super cheap because they're regular Wii classic controller. Those are worth like nothing now, so I could probably find 3 of those just for Brawl, but I'm not gonna. Let's see, Skull Kid, which the fact that Skull Kid is in this game to me screams, yes, we are making Majora's Mask 3D. Steel Diver from Steel Diver, and the Beetle from Skyward Sword.
The Beetle from Skyward. Oh, that thing.
Yeah. As far as assist trophies go, they have showed off Andross is returning. Ashley, who I'm forgetting what game she was from.
WarioWare.
Oh, yep, WarioWare. That's it.
I remember Ashley because of the song in oh, that's my Wii U. Because of the song in Brawl. You better watch out for the Big Ashley or whatever. I don't know. It's that song that plays on the Wario stage, so I'm assuming WarioWare. I haven't checked Miiverse in months. I need to go look at what awesome drawings are on it now.
Isabelle from Animal Crossing: A New Leaf.
Yep, your personal secretary that runs your town while you go away neglecting it.
Well, Anthony, I
She's
told
so
you I'm
innocent. She is so innocent about it too. She's like, "Oh, you've been gone for so long, but I've been taking care of things for you," and it just guilts you for being away for so long.
so I'm actually picking that game. Like I wanted to buy that game last year, but I kept delaying it, delaying it, delaying it, and then I lost my AT&T job, and then I found this job. But like I'm probably gonna pick that up soon because it's the perfect game for when we go to PAX, like for that plane flight. Um. Anyway, so continue with the assist trophies. Isabelle, they've announced Metroid, they've announced Mother Brain, they've announced Waluigi and Skull Kid, they've announced the legendary Starfy. Oh my god, that's just too funny. Um, so not done yet though. They've also announced Midna and I forgot her name, but she's from Sin and Punishment. Lil from Fire Emblem, and Chain Chomp from Super Smash Brothers.
Okay.
Another funny image I saw on Tumblr here. They showed off Mega Man's Final Smash, and it is where him and four other versions of Mega Man all fire off their Super Mega Buster. And then it shows this image of classic Mega Man, the really horrible, ugly box art. And it just has a picture of him, and then it zooms on his face more, and zooms in more, and it goes to his eye, and a single tear rolls down his eye.
Wow.
Actually, I kind of want to pick up Sin and Punishment was one of those games for the Wii that I always wanted to buy but never did. In fact, there's actually quite a few of those, but that's definitely one of them where I'm like, why don't I own this? Especially because it's always super cheap. Yeah, Sin and Punishment. That's how much a new copy of Sin and Punishment is, Anthony.
How much?
$6 to $13.
Wow.
Sealed, brand new. So,
wow.
Those are the new assist trophies. By the way, everyone who's bitching about Youth for Brawl, they unveiled something every day. Well, I think this counts for like 2 months worth of shit coming out.
Yeah, because most of the announcements that you read on the internet back in the Brawl days, like I did, they were like stuff that like really got you excited for about 30 seconds. Yeah. So yeah, like to be honest though, lately the announcements have not been the way that they've been doing announcements is not really quite as hyped as they was in Brawl, because Brawl, it was like with the huge success of Melee, Brawl was like, what could go wrong with Brawl? I was so stoked. Every day was a new update. It could be a song, a new stage, new character, an update to an old character. You didn't carry it because it looked like I didn't carry it. It just looked like the coolest thing ever. And then with Melee and but the problem with that approach was that it got me too excited, and I ended up disappointing myself in the process. Whereas now it's like
with Smash Brothers Brawl. On the opposite end, I was excited. Did not read anything about it. Like, unless it was something that was like on the front page of GameSpot or IGN, just did not know about it. Game comes out, I check how to unlock every single character. I call Ben up. Hey, game came in the mail. You ready? He's like, yep. And then we spent like 24 straight hours beating it and unlocking everything. It was great. Great weekend. Had a blast. Still enjoy that game. I think it's the best one in the series.
Someone just got butthurt by you saying that.
Just let the butthurt flow through you.
Mm-hmm. I think that meme picture is kind of funny, just like the Emperor just yeah, okay.
So I think that's it for the Smash Brothers announcements. I'm excited. I'm excited. I also really want to buy a bunch of games for my Wii U that I just haven't gotten around to picking up yet. Like that just I want to buy Donkey Kong. I want to find a case for my copy of Mario because it got lost in the mail. I want to pick up Wonderful 101. I want to pick up uh, Rayman. Like those are the games I want to pick up for that system. I already own Zelda, so. Anyway, moving forward, we got one oh I found this on Tumblr. I thought it was hilarious. You know how they have like when they unveil a new character for this current game, it's like Charizard brings the fire. Like Wii Fit Trainer will something. You know that stuff.
Okay.
Hank Hill brings the propane.
But
Oh god. All right. So moving forward to questions. God and comments. So Jenny Smith says Sony is off to an impeccable start. I really hope we don't see a drop in this momentum with all the changes you guys talked about. I think Sony has a lot of really smart people working for them. A lot of really talented people working for them. I can't see a reason why, that they would drop off. Like they obviously know what they're doing, even with all these drop offs. They got a lot of talent there. There's no reason that Sony should not be in a good place, continuing the rest of the way through. All right, Anthony, you have anything to say about that?
Not much really. I just don't. I really don't know because it's like PlayStation is in like an amazing spot right now. Maybe Jack Tran left because he wanted to leave on a good note before things kind of slide down the hill 2 years from now. Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, like I mean,
but
like imagine if we get another PS3 and then he has to save that shit. Then he's not going to know if the one after it's going to be any good. So
I mean, you think about it. If you wanted to resign, sure, you're probably resigning. You may look like you're resigning too early because the brand that you've been with since the beginning is enjoying unprecedented success. I wouldn't say unprecedented, but it's enjoying such great success. And I guess, but then again, you probably might want to leave because you've been with the brand for a long time. It's time to move on. It's time to explore new projects, and it's a good note to leave on. You left when things were very, very good. Whereas the future can be very uncertain. We don't know where the PlayStation brand could be 3 years from now. Things can change in 3 years. Like Microsoft kind of went from they have a very viable contender against the PlayStation 3 to just kind of falling, slowly declining over the years. Anything can happen in 3 years. So, yeah. Now, as for the other people like Amy Hennig, that was quite a concern because you've got the Last of Us writers and you've got the Uncharted writer, but the Last of Us writers were the one that scored all the awards, so it was kind of like one of those cases of like, well, we can only have so many writers in our studio for the one game we're making, so that was a bit of a concern. Like Uncharted, Amy Hennig might have finished the story of Uncharted 4, but if they make another Uncharted without her, it's kind of like Mass Effect 3. Okay, Mass Effect 3 didn't have the same lead writer. Okay, the guy who envisioned Mass Effect 1 and 2, he knows everything. Every single detail. He knows exactly how a Turian should behave. But when you don't have that guy there, basically the story kind of gets reduced to a fan work where you try to write the story to the best of your ability, but you only know so many details. You can only picture so much. And what you end up having is something that isn't truly what people fell in love with at first. I mean, it's good, it's commendable, it's respectable, but it's not like the lead writer. But
yeah,
and I think that like some community managers left too, and then you got Sony Santa Monica with layoffs. So yeah.
All right. Well, that's the answer to your question, Jenny.
Miiverse is so awesome. I mean, it constantly makes me feel really bad that I can't draw ever. However, that being said, though, on Club Nintendo, they have just recently updated new games. Hey, Bronson, you can get Super Mario World on Wii U for 200 coins.
I already bought it for $1.50, but thank
Okay,
you.
I don't have it, so I could get it too. And also for people out there
You
who
should
are
get Super Mario World. It is the best 2D Mario. Thomas is still wrong if he's listening to this.
yeah, but and also if you're a person who has a little bit of interest in learning to draw, and you are a total garbage person at art like I am, drawing art, I should say. They also have a DSi Art Academy game for 200 coins, also on Club Nintendo. There you go, small news plug-in. Anyway, sorry, Bronson, go ahead.
All right.
They still have the Year of Luigi on the Miiverse.
They need to stop because that shit was a failure. Man, the year of Luigi was horrible. Giant Bomb actually, Anthony, I need to send you this clip from their podcast about the quote year of Luigi, about how bad it was. It was so funny. Anyway, Miyamoto says on the Microsoft side, overall CEO Ballmer is being replaced. Don Matrick left the mess that was Xbox One, and Mark Whitten, chief Xbox product officer, leaves. These are the top of the pops concerns.
Well, Don Matrick leaving is a good thing.
Yeah, that one's fine. Like fucking sure. Like no issue with that.
I mean, I just find it a pretty interesting coincidence that when Don Matrick left, suddenly things about the Xbox One got better. Like, they were on damage control, and then they were trying to fix this colossal mess that was born from the days of, TV sports and Call of Duty. Anyways, moving forward.
Yeah, and then as for the other ones, like Steve Ballmer had like the top heads of Microsoft had very little to do with the Xbox, so that one doesn't really matter that much. And then yeah, I would say that Mark Whitten, that's a problem, but it's not huge. Quite honestly, if Phil Spencer left, I'd be way more concerned. But that's just me. Uh, anyway, moving forward, solid Kratos. God damn it.
Well, he's not. Well, I want to get to 3 hours. Well, we're at 2 hours 11 minutes according to my stopwatch, so we're probably not going to get it to 3 hours.
All right,
and we're also very tired.
All right.
But here we go.
Here we go. News is old, but Oculus Rift being bought by Facebook and receiving major backlash by everyone on the internet. Do you believe the reaction was appropriate? What do you think about Oculus Rift? I just don't give a shit about these VR headsets, for one. And as for what I think about this, Jim Sterling did a Jimquisition on this, and there are companies in the game industry that could have got a hold of this that are 1,000 times worse than Facebook. I mean, there are way worse companies as a whole that are fucking worse than Facebook. I really don't see this as that much of a problem. I don't know, that's just me.
Let's see. Backlash by everyone on the internet. Do I believe the reaction was appropriate? Probably not, because the internet likes to overreact. I mean, hyperbole is the language that the internet runs on. So, everyone's going to blow up about it, but over time, they're going to hear nothing from the Oculus guys. So it's going to be kind of like, it's going to calm down. But I personally really have no idea what to think about this. Like, if Oculus Rift was bought by Microsoft, then everyone's going to be like, ooh, wow, what's going to happen? Or if Oculus Rift was purchased by some regular computing, some, up-and-coming gaming company, something like that. Maybe Razer. Who knows? If that happened, then that would be pretty interesting. But it was bought by Facebook, and I don't know what to think. Everyone is just, I think everyone's blowing up because, we at one point probably had this image that Facebook is this evil giant mega corporation that sells your personal information and Facebook information to advertisers. We kind of paint this image that Facebook is a great evil where no secret is ever safe the moment you sign up for it. Something like that. Hence why I think everyone's freaking out so much. I didn't freak out like that, but I was very confused because Oculus Rift guys, which John Cormack actually works on Oculus Rift, and he's like one of the big id studio guys back in the Quake days. He works on Oculus Rift now. And like Oculus Rift and Facebook, they're so different in what they do. Like Facebook is a social media giant. Oculus Rift is this, up and coming new tech kind of thing. And for a social giant to buy this techie thing just didn't make sense in my brain. It's like, why? If Google bought Oculus Rift, everyone would be like, oh, we're not surprised. It's Google. Google has lots of things. They make Google glasses. They make Nexus phones and tablets. Like, Google makes sense. Facebook doesn't. So, and what do I think about the Oculus Rift? I think it is, from an engineering perspective, a really amazing, cool piece of tech. Like, if you were to talk about the screen slanting and how they managed to kind of create like this virtual reality through the headset, amazing, awesome tech. Practical wise, problems. First off, it being new tech, it's going to be very expensive, so not many people are going to get it. Second off, it's the coolest thing ever if I could experience the world of Mass Effect wearing that thing for about 5 minutes. However, I also understand that after those 5 minutes, I'm probably going to feel very ill from my lack of frame of reference and my vision, and I'm probably going to die from a heart seizure from experiencing ultra realistic falls because I have no frame of reference. Can you imagine jumping off buildings in Infamous wearing that thing? You're gonna feel really ill. You're gonna feel like your brain primitively is gonna feel like it's falling to its death, even though you're still on your couch. Greatest thrill ever, but you're probably gonna die on the inside. All right, but we've talked about Oculus Rift before, but anyways, there you go.
All right, moving forward. With people like Peter Molyneux and Michael Patrick saying Kinect is useless, and with Microsoft bundling games and price cuts at certain retailers, do you believe they'll drop the Kinect by this holiday or early next year? What is your opinion on Phil Spencer? Will he lead Microsoft to a better place movie 3? First off, Microsoft is not that bad of a place. Like, they're a couple million behind, which if you follow the PlayStation 3's life, a couple million units is nothing. Like, that's a drop in the bucket. So, and as far as they in my opinion, they have a better library overall than the PS4 right now. I have found that, like, I compare the two libraries, and I think that the best games on the PS4 are better than the best games on the Xbox One. But I think the Xbox One has a more complete library right now. So that's that. So I don't know. But I do think Phil Spencer will lead them to a good place. I think
the thing is, I don't know much about Phil Spencer, so I can't really comment on that part.
He's been at Microsoft forever. He helped lead the original Xbox. Like, if there is someone that I have faith in, it is Phil Spencer to help them. So, yeah.
As for Peter Molyneux and Michael Pachter saying that the Kinect is useless, I think it really depends on what you actually want it to do. Because the thing I've learned about the Kinect is that depending on where you look, it either is very useful or it is, quote, useless. For example, if you think this thing is meant to be a gaming device, not really. I mean, Kinect Sports Rivals and Dance Central and Dancing Games is pretty much the only games I've seen work. And even then, that doesn't exactly justify Kinect for gaming. What Kinect can do, and I believe Microsoft is understanding this, is that because it has a built-in microphone, you can do speech recognition with it, which is pretty darn cool. But speech recognition has always been one of those hit or miss things. When it works, it's amazing. When it doesn't work, it's annoying, very annoying, and probably underutilized is how I would feel about the Kinect right now. Because right now, it's doing about as much functionality as I would think would come out of a college project, actually. because it's kind of like, use your hands to navigate the menus, use your voice to make the menu do things, but this peripheral is very expensive, so you kind of expect it to do more. Because if this thing is causing the Xbox One to be like quite a ways more expensive than the PlayStation 4, you would think this thing needs to be a piece of magic. And it's a piece of magic at certain times when you talk to it. But I think that's about it.
See, the thing is, though, is I feel as though that a lot of people like crying, oh, Connect is garbage, don't have this system in their house and don't. Like, I would not. I like after having the Connect with the Xbox One, I would never want it without it. Like, it doesn't add much to games. Like, there are no games that I think, oh yeah, this makes it instantly better. But there's a lot of other stuff that like it's super fucking fantastic, and when it works, it's awesome. You know, like Xbox, Snap, Internet Explorer, and then I boot up my podcast, and boom, podcasting while playing a game, or listening to a podcast while playing a game, or Xbox.
Yeah, but that is more like kind of like an operating system microphone thing, because you think about it, the microphones aren't hard to get. Okay, like lots of people have microphones, and Microsoft has a speech platform that does speech recognition for you. In fact, if you get like the old Kinect sensor and you plug it to a computer and you do a little bit of C# programming language development, you'll find that it's actually not too difficult to set up a speech. Like Microsoft has spent a lot of time building a speech recognition platform, much like how Google and Apple have made theirs, which is great. So speech recognition isn't that hard. I think the problem here is that those cameras are probably underutilized, because we see the magic in Kinect mainly through voice commands, because we say things with our voice and things happen.
That's true, but I have seen a couple of cool applications for video. First off was Skype. I mean, the quality of the camera with Skype is awesome, and I didn't realize how great this was until I actually, got to Skype with a couple people with it. But I was, sitting at my desk, and the camera was pointed on me as much as it could because it can't rotate a full, 360 degrees. But then I like stood up and moved to my bed to sit down and start chatting face to face with Felix. And not only did it follow me, but then it zoomed in on my shoulders when I finally sat down.
How often do you do that, though?
I Skype with people.
Would you pay $200 for that feature?
I'm not paying $200 for that feature. I paid $100 for that feature. In fact, I actually paid $40 for that feature because it came with a fucking game. A game that's new and I wanted to play.
Okay, counting that the game isn't included.
Is it worth $100? I think total, yes. I mean,
I wouldn't even say it's like worth $100, considering like the system itself is slightly less powerful than the PlayStation 4.
Also, another neat feature is this. Look, Anthony, like when Aaron was, I won't say a roommate, but when he'd stay here during his nomad days, or when Quinn would stay here, signing into Xbox accounts was a ginormous pain in the ass. Because it's like, oh god damn it, I'm on this controller, or it's like, oh, I signed into it, but shit, I'm controller 1, I want to be controller 2, da 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 da. Not a problem with because of this camera. It recognizes your face, and then it also recognizes who has what controller, and it just automatically switches it. Like that's like it's very minor things. Like these are all this is really minor shit, but it actually is really cool when you get to see it running in person. And a lot of it is the microphone. But right now they are bundling a game with it. And you can say less powerful all day long, but at the end of the day, like most people aren't going to notice, except hardcore nerds like us, who are the early adopters, to be fair. But I mean, no one gave a shit that the Genesis was less powerful. No one gave a shit that the PS2, PS1, Wii were less 360 even were less powerful. They cared about games, and I think like that $100 price difference and the bad reveal are what's kicking Microsoft in the balls. If And I think that Connect, when it, when you actually get to see it in your home, and that's one of those things. It's one of the things that's it's the hardest thing about that fucking system to get across to people. Like, and especially the TV stuff. I don't have the TV stuff in my home because I don't have cable. Alex does. I got to see it at his place. It's awesome. It's super cool. Automatically has all your channel listings, everything. It's way faster and way easier to use than any fucking cable box's TV guide. Like, and it's really neat to have stuff like this happen. Okay, I will be matchmaking for Titanfall, but it takes me 90 minutes to find a match, or not 90 minutes, 90 seconds to find a
Dear
match.
goodness, is it like Smash Brothers, Brad?
It takes me 90 seconds to find a match, another 90 to get into it. Let's say it takes a minute to load. Sounds like, that's almost 10 minutes I can be doing something else, or at least 5. So, like, so I'm going to go look at my achievements and see my achievement progress. And then while I'm sitting there on that separate application, that separate screen, a little thing comes up. Hey, yo, your Titanfall match is starting in like 10 seconds. And and I say, Xbox, go to Titanfall. Boom, I'm back in. Like, it's very little things like that take advantage of it. And like I said, like, I saw it at E3. I saw it at, we got to see the demos at the kiosks. Like, but what I saw, I was like, I'm never going to use that. But then actually see it in practice for a weekend in my home, and then owning the system myself, and I'm like, I totally get this now. I get it. And I feel that, like, it's very much like the Wii. Like, a lot of people decried the Wii was stupid. Then they tried Wii Sports, and they're like, oh, okay. So,
I'm not exactly sold on Connect yet, but there are like a few things I do kind of prove it. First off, it does one-to-one motion surprisingly well. Because you remember that whole time that we couldn't get bowling to work and I was kind of like flailing my arms around?
Yeah.
Frickin', we didn't have a camera pointed at me, but I'm pretty sure just about everyone who watched the video could tell what I was doing with my arms and my body as I was pacing around, flailing my arms, not figuring out how bowling works. The one-to-one motion is surprisingly good. Which brings me to another point. I still maintain that Connect 2.0 is freaking, like, the original Connect from a technical viewpoint was pretty darn cool because it has its like if you do development work on it on Windows, freaking has its own like built-in skeletal tracker. That's freaking amazing. That can keep track of joints, and if you write a good enough program code, you can even use the Connect with a green screen, and it would literally crop out your background and put you on like whatever thing is happening on the green screen. Like freaking Connect, like even the original Connect can do amazing things, and with Connect 2.0 is even more ridiculous. 1080p cameras, wow! And also they claim that the sensors are so good they can detect your heartbeat, which might actually be believable having seen the one-to-one motion. Now, with what Bronson has described as for the question of do you believe that they will drop the Kinect by this holiday season or next year, probably not, because I did originally say that back when the Xbox One still wasn't out yet. They said, okay guys, you're not required to have Kinect anymore. I thought, yep, they're going to make a cheaper Xbox One option without the Kinect in order to compete with price against the PlayStation 4. But then they say, no, the Kinect is an absolute essential part of the Xbox One ecosystem. Something like that. And after seeing how garbage the interface is, could see why. But aside from
even you were impressed when we were fucking around. I was like, Xbox settings,
and it just straight up goes to settings, no hitches whatsoever, no weird delays. It just did it, and it was like one moment where we're just wait, whoa, did it just do that? Like, yeah. I mean, it is mostly little things. I mean, obviously there are problems with it. Like voice recognition still isn't perfect no matter how hard you try. You can ask Siri, you can ask Google.
Let me try this. Xbox, turn on. Xbox, turn on. Yeah, you'll do it for the Big Bang Theory, but not me.
See, like voice recognition will still have problems because you can ask Siri, you can ask Google Search, you can ask Xbox, you can ask Kinect. Like voice recognition can only be so good. Current
Xbox, please turn on. See, nothing.
Yeah,
Xbox, turn on, you fucking whore.
Yeah, see when it
Xbox,
works.
Turn on. Turn on.
Okay,
turn
Bronson.
On.
Bronson.
Xbox on.
Bronson.
It just turned on when I said that.
Okay. We can stop yelling now. That's another
feature. Because it's an IR blaster, it can also, when it turns on, it can automatically turn on your receiver and your TV.
Or is it doing it through the HDMI cable?
I know it can.
Because I say this because
the Wii U, I know.
No, not the Wii. No, not the Wii U. This is before even the Wii U, because if you synced up your TV with the PlayStation, when you turn on your PlayStation, it can also turn on the TV. But when you click off your TV, it can turn off your PlayStation also, along with the new Blu-ray player. I think they sync it through the HDMI cable also. You can do it through HDMI.
Well, I know they do. I know for the receivers, they for sure do it through an IR blaster.
Yeah, and freaking, it was also really cool that you could control the PS3 through the TV remote.
Oh, that's another thing.
Which was also awesome because of course I kind of thought to myself, gee, my parents are never going to figure out how to use a PlayStation 3 controller. However, I am certain they can navigate XMB with a TV remote and its DVD buttons, and they did. So it was a really nice feature.
That's actually another feature I forgot to mention about the Kinect is Xbox volume up, Xbox volume down. That works.
Yeah, like there's some things they could have done better. Like first off,
goddamn creeper.
Yeah, freaking the Kinect. The other problem with voice recognition is that when it comes to voice commands, it can be extremely picky. Xbox Play.
That's because instead of trying to parse natural language like Siri, it has a list of very specific commands.
Yeah. Now, you can get around that problem by typing in more commands. The programmer puts in more commands in, but that's like more work. So, yeah. I don't think they're going to get rid of the Kinect now. Will they drop it? They would, but then everyone would complain about the interface even more. So...
Yeah, so
they're not going to drop it. I know that much. Okay.
Yeah, I don't see them dropping it. I think it's just, I think it's too important for them as of right now.
I mean, you think about it. That's one of the Xbox One's biggest selling points right now, because it's like without it, it is basically a bloated, fat game system that's huge, and it has a slightly better games library.
They very much did take the 360 overheating concern very seriously, because this thing is never going to overheat. Like, it is whisper quiet. Like, it is one of the most quiet game systems I've ever had. Like, just no joke. But that said, it's also probably because it's fucking ginormous. But like, I can't even hear the disc tray on the goddamn thing, So I mean, that's what say something about it.
Okay.
Anyway, moving forward, what's his next question? Have you heard of Soma coming to PS4 It's by the Crazy Amnesia? Are you hyped or interested? I remember hearing about Soma, but I'm going to look up what exactly it is real quick. Because I remember seeing the trailer for it, but I don't remember much about it. Oh yeah, I remember this. Yeah, no, fuck this game. Yeah, no, thank you. No, thank you. I like sleep. I like not having to like horrible fucking nightmares for weeks on end. Yeah. I mean, if you're into that kind of thing, that's up to you. That's hype. But that's not how I roll. So, but Anthony, Anthony, have you ever played Amnesia?
No, I haven't.
I feel that would be a good 60-minute access game. I got it in a humble indie bundle, and I played like the first couple of levels and was like, "Fuck this scary bullshit." Yeah. I am so. Here's the thing: horror games. I've just never been a big fan, and when I do play them, I have to play them with friends. That like there are some exceptions. Like I did play the Silent Hills alone. I did play Resident Evil 4 alone. But when it comes to like games that are actually scary and not fake scary, like the newer Resident Evils, like that's when I am just such a girl. Like I will straight up admit, just like call me a woman all you want because fuck that shit. So that's my opinion on that. So I don't know. So I don't know. What's your opinion, Anthony? On the whole horror thing?
I don't play horror games. I am very what do they call it? Faint of heart or something like that.
Okay.
Something like I don't know what I forgot what the phrase is. I get scared easily. Like for example, in Final Fantasy 14, giant tomberries creep me out. Like little tomberries are freaking cute, and even with their little knives and lamps, even with that,
What about Murlocs? Did Murlocs scare you? Oh,
not really. The Murlocs are more like humor for me than actually scary.
You weren't around when Murlocs were the most terrifying shit.
No, I wasn't. But anyways, like in Final Fantasy 14, there's like these little tomberries, and the little tomberries are kind of cute, even though they have like knives and stab you all the time. But the little tomberries, I'm actually okay with. The big tomberry is kind of creepy, and then there's one of my buddies in the game. He made this giant wooden board with the King Tomberry look on it, and he put it in the frickin' guild house that we have, and he told me, hey, you should go check this out. And I'm just like, oh, let me go upstairs and look at it. So I looked at it and I got really scared because this giant board that looks like a Tomberry with its blank eyes staring directly into your soul, and it was just like, oh, forget this board is scary. Take it away, get rid of it, like throw it away. I don't want to see that giant Tomberry. It just creeps me out. It's gonna like animate itself and it's gonna kill me in my sleep. So yeah, and it was just a wooden board. So yeah. Anyways, that's my Tomberry story.
So all right. I guess I answered your question about that. With movies coming out, have you seen Captain America? What do you think? If you did, Hail Hydra, and I've seen the TMTT trailer produced by Michael Bay. Do you plan to watch the new X-Men and the Amazing Spider-Man? Let's see. Let me try and answer each of those. Amazing. So, let's see, how should I? I don't know how I should tackle each of those. As for I guess we'll go one by one there. I haven't seen the new Captain America, so I have no idea what Hail Hydra is. Have I seen the TMET trailer? Yes. I don't think it's nearly as awful as everyone says it is. Then again, it is being directed by Michael Bay, so it is probably going to be garbage. Or produced, rather. And do I plan to watch the new X-Men? Probably. Do I plan to watch the new Amazing Spider-Man? Maybe. If I'm in a good mood and it's at like our cheap theater. I did not like the first one. I thought it was like they ruined Spider-Man is basically what I thought. So I don't know, Anthony, your opinion?
I have yet to see a recent Captain America movie. Have I seen the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles? Nope. Produced by Michael Bay. That actually probably made me care less.
And Megan Fox is April O'Neil.
Oh, man.
Why he has an obsession with terrible yet attractive actors, I do not know. But...
You think about it, he basically makes the movies that pretty much do the best job of getting attention. And what does that mean? Hot women
and explosions.
Hot women and blowing shit up.
Like I said, tits and explosions.
Yeah. Like, he pretty much does it. To be honest, though, he works on the latest Transformers movie, right?
Yeah, he works on those. Yes.
He certainly knows how to appeal to dudes, because when you put like a giant mech dragon and dinosaur in there, you just kind of suckered me in for a bit there.
Yeah, when they showed a dragon transformer, I was just like, God damn it.
Yeah, and I saw the dinosaur like for the brief moment. I'm just like, man, this guy just makes some really dumb, flashy shit that doesn't have much value. But boy, does it appeal to the inner dude that just wants to be stupid sometimes.
Which, if you've ever been a teenage or young male, you know that that urge is strong a lot of the time.
Yeah, like freaking mech dragons. Hello, it's a mech dragon,
That,
and then
this
there's
is
a
like,
mech.
why did no one think
There's
of
a
this idea sooner?
mech
Yeah.
T-Rex. Yeah,
Ah.
freaking. Okay, new X-Men. Actually, I don't know anything about that. And the Amazing Spider-Man 2. I watched the first Amazing Spider-Man, and I don't
Yeah, that
know.
movie was and
To be honest,
uh,
I don't watch a lot of comic book movies because they all just kind of have the same feel, or at least the Marvel movies do. Um, I
and
guess
then
they
the
kind of.
DC movies are all just bad except for Batman.
Yeah, I mean, actually, yeah, I guess I could include DC into this too. They just kind of, they're okay. I mean, they basically try to say, "Hey, moms, hey, dads, you know that household name that you never bothered reading about?" You know, basically, everyone knows who Spider-Man is, but how many of them actually have read the comics? Probably not many. So it's just kind of like, okay, so we're gonna, you know what Spider-Man is, and now we're gonna tell you how Spider-Man got started. So they kind of have to like create this general plot that's somehow easy enough for everyone to understand about how Spider-Man became Spider-Man.
Ryan
Um,
Davis brought this up. Uh, rest his fucking soul. But it was like everyone knows the fucking like origin to all these fuckers, or at least all the mainstream ones: Superman, Batman, and Spider-Man. We really don't need the origin story, people. Like Spider-Man, like he got
we
bit by
know
a
he
radioactive
got bit by
spider.
spider, got powers, and then Uncle Ben told him great power means great responsibility, something like that. We all know
You
that.
know,
That's
Batman,
that
like Batman, fucking
Bruce Wayne lost his parents at a young age and became a vigilante.
yeah, Vigilante.
Superman, he is an alien.
He's an alien. He's the last of his kind, or he's one of the last of his kind because his planet blew up. There's like three bad guys and his cousin left, and that's it. Uh, so
Yeah, but anyway, so like we know they're like, or at least we
yeah,
know the
that's
origin. I don't
actually
know.
Everyone's like, oh, Superman, he's so OP. Like everyone, I'm gonna go on a tangent about Superman here for a minute because I like Superman, and Superman gets shat on way too much. Like way too much for considering what he is. Like everyone's like, oh, Superman's OP. It's just like in the case of Superman, it's not about his fucking powers. Like that's just like like if you think if you think like the point of Superman is to like be this ridiculously like OP god, that's the fucking moral of Superman. It's like no, it's about like being the last of your kind and being the ultimate good, which yeah,
You
I
think
get
about it.
it.
I do believe they said something that Superman could blow up the planet if he could.
Superman, dude, Superman, like if you've ever read the comics, Superman can like pull Earth out of its orbit.
That's very scary. So I guess morality can be like come into there also.
Yeah, like
Yeah, that's kind of a bit of frightening thought, but anyways, like comic book superhero movies, they just don't really click with me because I guess they all just kind of have this general feel because they focus on an origin story and then work from there. Like the Amazing Spider-Man. It's not like Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 from the early 2000s, but like the Amazing Spider-Man. So you get Peter Parker who gets bit by a spider in the lab. Again, you have Lizard, which looks kind of weird. And it just kind of all played out how I sort of would expect it to play out. Maybe because I am at least somewhat familiar with what Lizard does and who he actually is.
Well, that
But it
movie
just,
was not good. Let me tell
yeah,
you.
yeah, it was just.
Like,
I
like
don't remember
I
much of it, other than Lizard
like
looked kind of
here's the
weird.
thing. I would be a terrible film critic because I like a lot of shitty movies. Like, admittedly, and I admit that they're shitty movies. Well, actually, that'd make me a pretty good film critic because then I would bash a lot of movies I love the living crap out of. But still, my point stands. Um, and that movie is a shitty movie. Like the first two Spider-Man movies were great films. I'm talking about original, not amazing. And then
Spider-Man 3 was a
Spider-Man
mishmash of a
3
billion different villains
and
that try to fight for screen space.
and Spider-Man 3, while being a clusterfuck, was not as bad as anyone says. It's like emo Peter Parker. Oh God, that scene where he dances. I'm like, what do
Does
you
anybody
think?
actually understand why he was emo?
Does anyone actually understand that like this dude's been a nerd his entire life? And like, what happens when a nerd tries to, like, someone who is genuinely kind of geeky and awkward tries to act not that? Like, does anyone get that? You know,
I think I
like,
remember the biggest memory I remember about Spider-Man 3 was, aside from the fact that the villains probably were all just fighting for screen space, too many moments. And
I
by
know there.
moments I mean they drag on the sad moments too much. Like where Harry Osborn died. That they dragged on a bit too much. And then they made another sad moment and another sad moment. It was a bit too much.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, like I remember that was like the biggest complaint I have with that movie. And yeah, but you were right. It was like a clusterfuck of villains trying.
But everyone bitches about that movie way too much.
Yeah, but
Like,
I didn't think it was bad. I know
like
that much.
last time, like I bothered to, I went back to that movie after, like, I saw that movie when everyone hated it. And I'm like, this is not as bad as what you people say. You're idiots. And then years later, I would watch it again to like, oh man, maybe I was wrong about that movie because I watched it in high school, and high school me is far stupider than current me. And uh, yeah, high school me was right. He didn't understand why he was right, but that movie is not nearly like, especially anyone who like bitches about that movie of like emo Peter Parker or the scenes where he tries to be cool Peter Parker, just totally do not get the point.
I thought he was being cool Peter Parker because he was like under the influence or something.
He was. That was part of it. He was part. He
Yeah,
was
like
part
I
of
thought
the,
it was like I thought he was emo and dressed up and looked all classy and stuff. I thought that was because he was under the influence. So.
Yeah, that was part of it, and part of it is like the scene where he's like air humping in the middle of the street. Well, everyone's like, "Oh God, why?" And I'm like, that is how a very aggressive person who's been a total shy, awkward person their entire life would act. I know because that's exactly what Anthony Ta would probably do. If he became ultra aggressive. No offense to you, Anthony, but like if
I
you
find it very hard to imagine myself doing that though.
exactly because
It's so out of character.
exactly, and like that's another thing.
But the
like,
thing
oh,
was, in the case of Peter Parker, it's just like, oh, the symbiote just kind of like, I thought that was why he acted like that. He became hyper aggressive because of that thing.
exactly.
That's what I thought. And just like I thought, that was just like middle school me seeing that, and I'm just like, yeah, that makes sense. He's being weird and suddenly aggressive and angry at everybody because he's under the influence. It makes sense.
Exactly.
And then he's suddenly Peter Parker again when he splits from it.
Once again, exactly. All right, so yeah, that's our.
Yeah, so Amazing Spider-Man 1, man, comic book movies. I just kind of stopped caring. I mean, Iron Man 1 wasn't bad. I mean, Iron Man 1 was at least okay, I think.
I can't talk about those movies just because I fucking hate Iron Man.
Okay.
So,
but anyways, I thought it was like okay, but
So anything I have to say
they
about
always
Iron
focus
Man is
on
like,
like
oh, you mean how much
creating.
Iron Man sucks because he's Batman
Okay,
but not as cool.
we're not going to go into that right now, but
Um,
it's just these movies just all kind of seem the same because they're trying to like create the deep emotional connection, and they all kind of tend
no
to.
one
I
here's
just
the
want.
thing. Everyone has been trying to create, like, ever since it came out, everyone's been trying to do the Dark Knight where it's like dark and emotional, but no one gets why that movie was good. Like, no one understands why that the Dark Knight is one of the fucking greatest movies of all time. Like, and why its sequel wasn't as good as it, or its prequel, and why it's going to be one of those films that, like, everyone looks at, like Empire Strikes Back, and Godfather, and Citizen Kane, where it's like, this was one of the highlights of film, and they don't get why. You know,
Yeah,
and
and it's just superhero origin movies. I think of the
because
Man of
it's
Steel a lot when it comes
you
to
hated
superhero.
it or you dislike it. You dislike
I
it.
dislike Man of Steel
Okay,
when it
okay,
comes
got it.
to superhero origin movies because Man of Steel. Well, what did they do? First off, lots and lots of money is thrown to the CG department because you want these superheroes to look super. So what's one way to make them super? Let's have a CG bill in which half of Metropolis gets destroyed. Like I look at Superman and the beginning was like really slow because they tried to create this the father's trying to save the son and the planet's gonna blow up and gets sent to Earth and freaking grows up being the weird kid, gets bullied upon. That's a common scene right there, getting bullied upon. Young boys always get bullied upon.
To be fair, Anthony, you and I shouldn't talk shit about that because we did get bullied on.
Yeah, at one point in our school lives we did. I mean, I guess that's kind of it, probably an indicator. If you're bullied upon, you will be a great person when you get older.
Because we're pretty rad, right?
Yeah, I think so. We can do great things.
Sadly.
And we always kind of like, we always kind of get that satisfaction in movies when it's like, oh, the bully guy suddenly now has a job at a local food restaurant instead. We laugh at the bully. Anyways, so grows up. What happened next? More weird powers, and I just remember that the CG bill must be insanely ridiculous because you collapse so many buildings, it's ridiculous. And I also remember thinking, okay, if any government ever wants a quiet little town wiped off the map, call one of Superman's arch nemesis, invite him over to the town, and have them duke it out, and then you can watch Smallville get wiped off the map. Or something like that. Or if there's a downtown area that you kind of have trouble getting funds for new reconstruction plans, you can have them collapse half the buildings in Metropolis.
Fair enough.
FEMA is stoked, I'm pretty sure. But
okay.
I don't know. Whatever, like, I don't know. I just remember the biggest thought I had was that I didn't really care about the plot. Other than the love story was actually kind of, it wasn't actually bad. The love plot actually kind of worked, I found out. But you were collapsing half the buildings in Metropolis. I'm just like, how is this city ever going to recover? Because if you build up a brand new building, another Superman villain's gonna come by and collapse that building again. It's just kind of like, it's not. I know comic books aren't realistic, but it just seems kind of ridiculous. Anyways, that's just my rant on
Alright.
movies. Oh yeah, they always involve the U.S. military somehow. All the freaking time. They do it in Transformers. They do it in like tech, more tech.
Alright, so oh man. Yeah, I don't know. So finally is I know not many people who want the. I know there are not many people who want this Anthony Snowballing T-shirt, but I have an idea and some work done in Adobe Illustrator. So I want to give you guys to give me ideas. Since I don't know how it looks, like I'm winging it. Hopefully I send it to Bronson on YouTube or Twitter, or found a way to post on the website. I sent my idea to the Facebook page. I personally messaged it to you guys. Great. Neither of us can check the personal messages because Nick runs the Facebook. So, if you want a picture of what Anthony looks like, go watch our play. It's under, I want to say, I think it would be under regular videos. It's on the. Oh wait, no, it is not there. Well, those would work too. He's in our Game Expo highlights, and he is also probably somewhere in our.
You will find my head at least on the PlayStation 4 launch
Yeah.
event thing, which I forgot where I put it.
Yeah. So.
Where did I put it?
Uh.
Oh dear. It makes sense I put it under videos because it's like, but no, just says Game Expo.
Let's see. Do we put it under articles?
News? Probably under articles, yes. Generic articles.
Let's see. Let's see. There's our Game Expo panel under articles. You can see a picture of Anthony there.
We are sorry we do not have a search feature on our website.
It's under articles. The Gamer Access at PlayStation 4 Midnight Launch, page 2. You can see Anthony, Bremen, and I, the Reno TGA staff. So,
woo!
Yeah. I think that's about it. That's the last question we got.
2 hours, 55 minutes. Almost 3 hours.
I'm not sure if it'll get us to 3 hours, but Killer Instinct at PAX East. Participants in the KI tournament hosted by MLG at Turtle Beach's booth will get a KI fight stick pin. You can also challenge Dave McCrate to a KI fight to the death at the Xbox booth and defeat him for a pin. So you find folks who are going to PAX East, that's something for you. Especially if you pay attention to this site and we talk about it enough, I'm assuming some of you are fans of Killer Instinct. I would hope. Anyway, also, Solid Kratos, man, if you are looking for a long-ass video game podcast besides us, Giant Bomb and who else does a pretty long one? I'm trying to think. I know Game Scoop used to do long ones. I'm not sure if they do them anymore. In fact, I haven't even seen a Game Scoop in a while. But yeah, so if you're looking for, and the Gamecast tends to be pretty long when we post it, and we're getting back to doing it. So, all right.
I don't know how with only 2 people we somehow hit 3 hours.
A lot to talk about. We have a lot of content that we're working on, and then we talked about Smash Bros. And all kinds of stuff.
Wow, it's like dry news week, 2 people, 3 hours. Woo! Achievement unlocked. 2 people. You with only a staff of 2 people podcasted for almost 3 hours.
Great. All right, so
if life was a video game, it would be kind of like Scott Pilgrim, and that would be a little scary.
That movie was so good.
It is a good movie. I like it. I like it quite a lot.
Yeah, this weekend I'll loan you The Wolf of Wall Street.
Yes, that movie.
Anyway, this has been Unscripted Access. Go review us on iTunes, rate us 5 stars, get us into those top iTunes podcasts so that more people see us, and more people see us means we will get more people to look at the site. More people looking at the site means more sponsorships and fun stuff like that, which means we can only work part-time, which means we're only working part-time, which means we can focus more on this, and that means more content and better content, and that better content means even more people looking at the site, and possibly more sponsorships, which leads to full-time, which means you guys will get a stream of content all week long. Anyway, so start the chain effect. Go now.
Woo.
Do.